Chapter 1776. Xiao Ling didn't expect her favorability to drop so quickly. When she was farming favorability, it was increasing bit by bit. It wasn't easy. Since the plagiarism incident, her favorability had dropped by more than 30 points. Xiao Ling cursed in her heart. Looking at the impatient and conflicted Yuanluan, Xiao Ling's heart turned cold. I will definitely find evidence. Xiao Ling seemed to be comforting Yuanluan and also seemed to be giving herself courage. When Xiao Ling walked to the door, Yuanluan stopped her and asked again, "Did you really write this script? Tell me a little about it so that I can be mentally prepared and make arrangements." Xiao Ling met Yuanluan's eyes. His eyes were sharp, with inquiry and doubt, piercing deeply into Xiao Ling's heart. Xiao Ling's heart was beating like a drum. Should she admit it or not? If she admitted it, her favorability would definitely plummet and his mission would fail. In Yuanluan's heart, she was a person with a flawed moral character. She was a thief. How could she increase her favorability in the future? But if she didn't admit it, what would she do if it led to greater losses? "You don't believe me?" Xiao Ling said sadly. She tried to make her eyes meet Yuanluan's eyes and not let her eyes drift away. She teared up and felt wronged. "Am I such a person in your heart? Someone who plagiarizes other people's works? My main job is an actress. If I want to become a movie queen, I want to create many roles. This script was really written in my free time. It's not that I don't believe you, but this matter is very serious. As long as you say you didn't plagiarize, I will believe you." Yuanluan saw how pitiful she was. She had just entered the entertainment industry and encountered such a thing. It made his heart ache. Xiao Ling took a deep breath and said with a trembling voice, "I didn't plagiarize. Please believe me." In the end, Xiao Ling didn't tell the truth and chose to face it head-on. "Then I believe you." Xiao Ling's mouth was so bitter that her tongue was numb. She turned around and walked out of Yuanluan's studio. Xiao Ling stood on the side of the road and said to the system in her mind, "I don't care. You have to take responsibility for this. The script you gave me clashed with someone else's. Now that something like this has happened, shouldn't you take some responsibility? If you don't help me solve this problem, I won't do the quest anymore. I won't go after men either." Xiao Ling said to the system, half threatening and half pleading. She had a mysterious trust in the system in her mind. She always felt that the system was omnipotent and could solve any problem. "You are the most hopeless host I have ever seen. Can't you think of a way yourself? I provided you with tools, but you can't make good use of them. Why do you need me to help you with everything?" The system in Xiao Ling's mind said coldly. "It's not like I can't find a solution. Can you turn back time and return to the time when I gave Yuanluan the script? Don't give him this script and change the script." Xiao Ling asked expectantly. "No." The system rejected him directly. Xiao Ling's heart was broken. The reason why she chose to fight to the death in front of Yuanluan was that the system was her last hope. She felt that the system could help her. But now that she was rejected mercilessly, Xiao Ling's heart was in a mess. "If you don't help me, I will kill myself," Xiao Ling threatened. "Sure. I have many hosts to choose from. If not you, there are others." Xiao Ling was speechless. The heavens really want me to die. Hearing the system say that it wanted to get rid of her, Xiao Ling was even more afraid. She couldn't live without the system. Without the system, she would return to the past. Her snow-white skin, her outstanding temperament, and her acting skills would all disappear. Think of a way, think of a way. I must think of a way to get through this crisis. While Xiao Ling was thinking of a way to get through this crisis, the internet had already exploded. The direction of the public opinion was on the side of the screenwriter, Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang had written many works and was very famous in the screenwriting industry. On the other hand, the other party didn't have a single work. She relied on a xianxia drama to walk into the eyes of the people. She was clearly an actress, but she also wrote a script. She stole someone else's role, and the script could also be plagiarized. Especially when Xiao Ling caused so much trouble for Yu Wenluan's fans went completely crazy. They rushed to Weibo and scolded Xiao Ling. They said that Xiao Ling was a vixen and a jinx. The outside world and fans put a lot of pressure on Xiao Ling. Xiao Ling was now busy copying scripts and creating evidence. However, Xiao Ling's mental fortitude was quite strong. She actually said on Weibo, "The innocent knows that they are innocent, and the muddy knows that they are muddy. There will be a day when the truth will be revealed, blah blah blah." Ning Shu saw Xiao Ling's Weibo and pursed his lips. There will be a day when the truth will be revealed. If she didn't take out solid evidence, what was the use of saying these words? It looked like she was trying to cover it up, and it wasn't convincing at all. This script wasn't written by her. It was fine if she didn't say it. Once she said it, it was like poking a hornet's nest. The editors and fans were torn apart. Chen Xiang was a very famous person in the scriptwriter circle. Many people supported her and cheered for her, telling Xiao Ling to leave the scriptwriter circle. The plagiarism lawsuit would still be going on for a while. This script was invested in by the entertainment company, and the capital wasn't small. Once it went to court, it should be clear soon. During this period, Ning Shu was busy with her own work. When the lawsuit was decided, she could start acting. Ning Shu didn't think that this side would lose. Firstly, it was because of the scriptwriter. Secondly, it was because of the entertainment company's strength. The investor's strength was stronger than Yu Wenluan's. Yu Wenluan received the court summons and the court date was set. Yu Wenluan felt that his head was about to explode. Whether he won or lost, he had offended some people in the industry. He called Xiao Ling and asked her if she had found the evidence. He asked her to come over and meet the lawyer to talk about the details. Xiao Ling grabbed her hair in frustration. Her face was pale. She had stayed up late to copy, and now she had a terrible headache. She was also reminded that her favorability had dropped. Now, it was only 50. Another 10 points of favorability were gone. Xiao Ling didn't dare to imagine. If they really lost the lawsuit, would Yu Wenluan's favorability for her become 0? What kind of man was this? He said that he liked her, but when he encountered trouble, his favorability would only drop. Xiao Ling was a little smart. She knew that a newly copied script would be suspected. She found the place where the antique was faked and asked someone to make it old. Then, she took it and went to look for Yu Wenluan. Yu Wenluan flipped through the slightly yellowed notebook. The notes were scattered. He heaved a sigh of relief and smiled. With this, we should be able to win. Chapter 1777. With this vintage notebook, Yu Wenluan also gave him face and increased his favorability by a few points. However, Xiao Ling didn't feel happy at all. She only felt that Yu Wenluan was very realistic. He didn't love her at all and had never done anything for her. When her favorability towards him was full, she would definitely kick this man away. Xiao Ling took the notebook and wanted to go home to rest. She couldn't take it anymore after staying up all night. During the court session, many reporters were attracted. Ning Shu also went to see the situation in court. Yu Wenluan sat in the defendant's seat, and Xiao Ling sat next to him. Ning Shu looked at the two sides and found that Yu Wenluan and Xiao Ling were very calm. They weren't worried about the lawsuit at all. Ning Shu was a little puzzled. Could it be that these two had some tricks up their sleeves? Or were they just bluffing? The reporters kept clicking on the shutter, and there was a clicking sound. This was big news. After the court session, both sides made a simple introduction. Then, the lawyers on both sides began to argue fiercely. This lawsuit was too important. The loser would be labeled as a plagiarist. It was almost a complete loss. There was no way for them to survive in this industry. Both sides had to do their best to fight for their reputation and capital. Chen Xiang's lawyer asked sharp questions. Moreover, he asked questions about the script. For example, what was the name of the second female lead's adoptive mother? What was the name of the second female lead's father? What was the name of the female lead's mother? What was the character of the second female lead's brother? What was the female lead's character? What was the content of the 20th episode of the script? Xiao Ling was speechless. She was copying in a hurry. How could she pay attention to such details? Xiao Ling was a little hesitant. Seeing Xiao Ling like this, Yu Wenluan immediately said, "This is not fair. Why are you only asking us these questions?" The scriptwriter, Chen Xiang, directly gave the answer. Yu Wenluan felt that something was wrong. He whispered in Xiao Ling's ear, "What's the matter? Can't you answer?" Xiao Ling was extremely anxious. "I wrote this script a long time ago. I don't remember the specific content. The other party is cheating." Yu Wenluan frowned and said, "This is not fair. Your questions were memorized in advance." Chen Xiang said, "You can ask whatever you want. I don't have any objections. You should memorize this script in advance. This method cannot be used for the trial." Chen Xiang's lawyer said, "Miss Qiao isn't familiar with her own work at all. As the creator of the script, she should know the script better than anyone else. Yet, she's accusing us of memorizing the script. That's very suspicious." In any case, as soon as the court started, Xiao Ling was given a show of strength, and Xiao Ling couldn't resist at all. Xiao Ling regretted it in her heart. If she had known earlier, she would have memorized the script. Xiao Ling roughly scanned the script and had an idea in her heart. In any case, it was a beautiful and tragic love story. He wasn't clear about some of the details, so his aura was suppressed by the other party. Unfavorable start. Ning Shu watched the battle in silence. As long as she didn't testify in court and prove that she was the one who sold the script to Chen Xiang had a high chance of winning. Of course, Ning Shu wasn't stupid enough to testify against Chen Xiang. "We have evidence to prove that this script was written by Miss Qiao. We can't remember the details because it's been too long." Yu Wenluan's lawyer took out an old notebook. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. "There was a manuscript. This is Miss Qiao's manuscript. If you don't believe it, you can check the notes," the lawyer said. At this time, they could only bring out solid evidence. It would be disadvantageous for them if they talked too much. Xiao Ling and the others took out the evidence. Chen Xiang also took out the time record of the script on her computer, as well as the records of repeated revisions, the first draft, and the revised draft. Obviously, Chen Xiang had sufficient evidence. Chen Xiang was the screenwriter. In order to avoid disputes, she would preserve the evidence to prevent such things from happening. She was very experienced in doing things. The evidence provided by Xiao Ling seemed a little weak. This kind of old-fashioned technique is too easy. Give me some time, and we can find someone to create this kind of old-fashioned feeling, Chen Xiang's lawyer said directly. Xiao Ling's expression changed drastically when she heard that. Seeing Yu Wenluan looking at her suspiciously, she immediately calmed down and refuted, "How funny. How can this kind of thing be faked? This kind of thing can be faked with medicine. If you put the book in water and then test it, there will definitely be a result. What can't be faked these days?" The lawyer said unhurriedly. Xiao Ling's hands and feet were weak, and she was seeing stars. How could this be? How did these people know that she had faked it? No, this is my thing. The whole book is what I worked hard to write. It can't be thrown into the water. This is my thing. You have no right to dispose of it. I object, I object. Xiao Ling stood up in a panic and retorted repeatedly. She looked a little frightened and her face was extremely pale. Ning Shu sat in the gallery, touching his chin with his fingers and looking at Xiao Ling. This notebook should be fake. What was more surprising was that Chen Xiang's lawyer knew about it. Ning Shu couldn't help but suspect that someone was monitoring Xiao Ling. This was the power of capital. Chen Xiang had capital behind her. If it was just a fight between two scriptwriters, it wouldn't have mattered. But now that the actors had been recruited and the investment was in place, the longer the delay, the more money would be burned. The shining silver would evaporate. This was actually a fight between the entertainment company and Yuanluan's studio. Chen Xiang's lawyer ignored Xiao Ling's objection. This is not a big deal at all. You just need to dip a cotton swab in water on the page. Otherwise, you can just give a page. This completely blocked Xiao Ling's way. Yuanluan pulled Xiao Ling to sit down. What's going on? Even if Yuanluan was a pig, when he saw Xiao Ling's intense action, he knew that something was wrong. The judge allowed the notebook to be examined, and Xiao Ling's face became paler. What's going on? I don't want to hear the truth from other people. Yuanluan's face was very ugly. He had asked Xiao Ling repeatedly before, and Xiao Ling assured him that this script was written by her. Now, the tables had turned. They plagiarized. Xiao Ling was shameless, but he was shameless. This is really written by me. I didn't plagiarize. This script was given to her by the system. How could it be counted as plagiarism? It didn't count. But no one believed it. Don't let anyone know of its existence unless you want to die. The system said coldly in her mind. What if you want to be studied? No matter how stupid Xiao Ling was, she wouldn't tell the system in her mind. Chapter 1778. If people knew about the system in her mind, they would definitely cut her head open. Even if no one believed her, she would be treated as a lunatic. How could she survive in the entertainment industry? Moreover, the system was what she relied on. Xiao Ling realized that the system only knew how to ask her to do the work. It only knew how to issue tasks and let her complete them. When something happened, it was like a turtle hiding in its shell. She had no way and no courage to leave the system. Yuanluan looked at Xiao Ling's changing expression and asked in a low voice, "Tell me the truth." At this point, shouldn't you tell me the truth? I really didn't mean to plagiarize. Really, Xiao Ling said. I swear, I'm telling the truth. I didn't plagiarize. At this point, you still want to lie to me. Do you know the consequences of losing the case? Will you pay the compensation? Xiao Ling's face became paler. The system even reminded her in her heart that the favorability had dropped by 30. Now, the favorability was only at 20. A favorable impression of 20 points was equivalent to an ordinary friend. Wasn't it dropping too quickly? How heartless. Xiao Ling's heart was numb. She had obviously raised the favorability so high, but it dropped so fast. Did that mean that everything she did before was for nothing? Enough. Don't remind me of the favorability. What's the use of talking to me about it? Xiao Ling raged at the system. Can't you help me? We are both glory and loss. Waiting for the test results was painful. Sorry, we don't provide such a service, the system said coldly. Then what's the use of having you? Xiao Ling roared in her heart. If you didn't ask me to conquer men, I wouldn't have fallen into such an awkward situation. Without me, do you think you would have been reborn? The system said emotionlessly. If you want to die, I won't stop you. Who wanted to die, especially to be reborn? Why was it so difficult to be reborn? Was her life supposed to be like this? On what basis? The test results came out. There was indeed a potion on the page. The judge asked Xiao Ling to explain the reason. I lost my book, so I wanted to make a book like this. But this doesn't mean that I plagiarized. Xiao Linger refused to admit it. Yu Wenluan's face was so dark that it couldn't get any darker. Now, the result was very obvious. Even if Xiao Ling had many reasons and was just short of swearing to the heavens that she didn't plagiarize, the result was still the plaintiff's victory. The plaintiff requested the defendant to publicly apologize in front of the media and claim 10 million in economic losses. As soon as the trial ended, Yu Wenluan stood up, turned around and left. The pressure on his body was very low. The media kept snapping photos of the two parties. Yu Wenluan squeezed through the crowd and left the court, completely ignoring Xiao Ling, who was surrounded by reporters. Xiao Ling was surrounded by reporters, who asked her all kinds of sharp questions. They asked her why she didn't act properly and insisted on plagiarizing the script. In the eyes of most people, he was fucking retarded. Xiao Ling wanted to chase after Wenluan, but she was surrounded by reporters. She couldn't explain the situation at all. Her favorability had also dropped to 10. Not giving him a negative number was already giving him face. Ning Shu stood at the entrance of the court. Seeing Yu Wenluan come out with a dark expression, he smiled and greeted him. Where's Xiao Linger? How could he abandon her so ungracefully? You're here to gloat, aren't you? Yu Wenluan directly bypassed Ning Shu. Ning Shu shook his head. I'm not here to gloat. I just think that you have bad taste. Yu Wenluan was speechless. Wasn't he gloating over their misfortune? What do you want to say? Yu Wenluan looked at Ning Shu. Nothing. I just saw that you lost the case, so I came to persuade you. Oh right, your studio seems to have been sued for 10 million. Are you paying for it or Xiao Linger? Ning Shu said with a gentle expression. Those who didn't know better would think that they were talking about some happy topic. Yu Wenluan's face darkened even more. This has nothing to do with you. Ning Shu shrugged. As long as you're happy. Seeing the reporters swarming over, Yu Wenluan opened the car door and drove away. Ning Shu appeared on camera again. The reporters asked Ning Shu for his opinion on the lawsuit. Ning Shu just said that it was right. The internet was in an uproar. Hashtag Xiao Linger plagiarism hashtag was already the #1 trending topic on Weibo. Xiao Linger fabricated evidence and refused to admit it. She was very thick-skinned. Yu Wenluan's fans blamed Xiao Linger for causing their idol to lose 10 million. They all wanted Xiao Linger to pay for it herself. She wanted to plagiarize and made Yu Wenluan take the blame. Of course, there were also people who said that Yu Wenluan was the mastermind behind the fabrication of evidence. There were all kinds of discussions on the internet. However, it could be seen that someone was stirring things up. Who knew if it was true or false? But Xiao Linger's reputation was ruined. The case was over. Ning Shu had to report to the set. It was time to start work. The work went on unhurriedly. During the break, Ning Shu took out his phone and browsed through the gossip. Yu Wenluan apologized on Weibo. He said that he didn't know that the script was plagiarized. He sincerely apologized and the other party still refused to admit it. Anyway, in short, he was deceived. Xiao Linger was the one at fault. He directly threw the blame to Xiao Linger. Then, he apologized and said that he had set a wrong example for society. He donated 200,000 yuan to Hope Primary School and donated all the books that he usually read. He used this method to change his image. Yu Wenluan's current actions were indeed the right thing to do. However, it was quite cold. He used 200,000 yuan to exchange for 10 million yuan. Then, this 10 million yuan compensation claim was placed on Xiao Linger. It couldn't be better. According to Xiao Linger's current reputation, the right thing to do was to stay away from her. Just like when Mu Shuyao got into trouble, Yu Wenluan did the same. After all, Yu Wenluan didn't love Mu Shuyao or Xiao Linger. He only cared about his own future. Now that something happened to Xiao Linger, Yu Wenluan immediately threw the blame to her. It was useless even if true love was invincible. Ning Shu pursed his lips. When it came to benefits, she turned her back on him. He wondered how Xiao Linger felt now. After a while, she didn't get anything. Instead, she was in debt. The 10 million yuan compensation claim was enough to give Xiao Linger a headache. Xiao Linger had just entered the entertainment industry and didn't have that much savings. Now that Yu Wenluan put 10 million yuan on her, Xiao Linger must be under a lot of pressure. When Xiao Linger saw Yu Wenluan's post on Weibo, she was furious. Did Yu Wenluan like to unilaterally make decisions on Weibo? He didn't tell her at all. In the past, she used to laugh at Mu Yunyao for being dumped on Weibo. Chapter 1779. Now that it was her turn, he didn't even give her a heads up before deciding everything. This feeling was unbearable. But now, Xiao Ling had no one to help her except Yu Wenluan. Not to mention 10 million. If she had known, she wouldn't have given the script to Yu Wenluan for free. Xiao Ling's heart was cold. She could tell what kind of person Yu Wenluan was from his attitude toward his ex-girlfriend. But she felt that she was different. With the existence of the system, he wouldn't have ended up in such a miserable state like Mu Shuyao. Xiao Ling was unwilling. She had done so much for Yu Wenluan and had always been trying to curry favor with him. But now, he didn't recognize her. Xiao Ling felt that she had put in a lot of effort but didn't get anything. She couldn't help but feel unwilling and ran to Yu Wenluan's studio. But Yu Wenluan avoided her and didn't pick up her calls. In any case, he wanted to completely cut off contact with her. Xiao Ling was furious. The court wanted her to pay compensation, but she didn't have the money. Xiao Ling stayed in Yu Wenluan's studio and considered herself to be his girlfriend. The more Yu Wenluan was afraid of getting involved with her, the more she wanted to get involved with him. She even said that Yu Wenluan was the one who ordered the fake notebook. Anyway, she had already discussed with the system that she wouldn't pursue this man in the future. She would start over. The system would change her appearance and identity. The price was that she had to listen to the system in the future and complete the missions well. But she had to solve this matter. If she didn't pay the money, the court would urge her. If they couldn't find her, they would definitely investigate. It was hard to guarantee that she wouldn't be found out. So, she had to clean up her tail. Xiao Ling was here to ask for 10 million. Yu Wenluan tried every means to get rid of Xiao Ling. Xiao Ling's nonsense made Yu Wenluan hesitate. He was trying his best to repair his image. He clearly felt that there weren't as many fans as before, and they weren't as active as before. Yu Wenluan had to see her. Stop talking nonsense. When did I ask you to fake it? I only found out in court that you plagiarized. Now that Xiao Ling had a way out, she didn't mind falling out with Yu Wenluan. I was forced by you. I can't even see you. If I didn't say that, you wouldn't see me. Wenluan, can you pay the 10 million for me? Xiao Ling went straight to the point. Yu Wenluan stared at her, dumbfounded. Why should I give you 10 million? Yu Wenluan acted as if he didn't know Xiao Ling. This pure and outstanding woman was now like a mean and greedy woman, asking for money. Was this still the Xiao Ling he knew? He could even see another face from one face. Then I'll tell everyone that you were the one who asked me to plagiarize. You were the one who wanted to promote me, but now you want me to take the blame. Since they had already fallen out with each other, they might as well say whatever was on their mind. Even if they didn't, they could still make something up. Xiao Ling felt very happy. In the past, she had always been the one to please Yu Wenlun, afraid that his favorability would drop if he got angry. Now that the system didn't allow her to conquer Yu Wenlun, who the hell would tolerate it? In the end, Xiao Ling found that she didn't get anything from Yu Wenlun. 10 million wasn't too much, right? Yu Wenlun sneered. Do you think that even if you say it out loud, others will believe you? Whether they believe it or not, there's no smoke without fire. Moreover, you've always been promoting me. You even snatched the role of your ex-girlfriend for me. This matter doesn't make a difference, Xiao Ling said fearlessly. Yu Wenlun was a hypocritical man. He would agree. 10 million is enough to buy your reputation, right? Yu Wenlun didn't expect that he had misjudged her. In the past, she was a pure gardenia flower after the rain. He didn't expect her to be a man-eating flower. She pretended to be pure and flawless and deceived him. You can't threaten me. Your threat is not worth mentioning to me at all. And I can end your acting career. The two of them had shed all pretenses of cordiality. There was nothing much to say. Moreover, Yu Wenlun's feelings for Xiao Ling were no longer love, but deep hatred. Compared to such a woman, Yu Wenlun found that his ex-girlfriend was simply a good person. At least, she wasn't like Xiao Ling when they broke up. She actually asked for 10 million. His funds were basically invested in the movie. Now, the money hadn't arrived yet. Instead, the box office was affected because of this incident. How could Xiao Ling have the nerve to ask for 10 million from him? The two of them argued for benefits. Xiao Ling didn't look good, and Yu Wenlun didn't look good either. The two sides were in a stalemate. Xiao Ling saw that Yu Wenlun wasn't willing to pay and asked, "What do you want for you to pay?" "I promise that as long as you pay, I will disappear in front of you. Do you think your threat is useful to me? Even if you sell yourself, you're not worth 10 million. Yu Wenlun's words were a little vicious. Xiao Ling had been in the entertainment industry for so long in her previous life. Although she was a small-time actress until her death, she could still hear some things. This guy actually coveted her body. Let me tell you, I won't sell my body. Xiao Ling covered her chest. Instead, the two plump lumps in front of her squeezed out a deep ravine, coupled with her outstanding temperament and pure face. Even though Yu Wenlun hated Xiao Ling, now, he still had a reaction. I can give you money, Yu Wenlun said calmly, but he crossed his legs to hide some changes. Xiao Ling looked at him with some doubts. Why was he suddenly so kind to give her money? However, she felt that Yu Wenlun was looking at her with eyes full of affection. She couldn't help but curl her lips and a plan came up in her heart. Xiao Ling felt a little sad. In her previous life, she was bullied by others and by the director just for a role. In this life, she had to walk the same path for 10 million. However, in the future, when she changed her face, she wouldn't have any interaction with Yu Wenlun. 10 million was worth it. The air was filled with ambiguous factors. Yu Wenlun stood up from the sofa and pressed Xiao Ling against the wall. Looking down at Xiao Ling's panicked little face, he couldn't help but bully her, making her cry and shout under his body. Yu Wenlun's face was red and his breathing was rapid. He seemed to have eaten something to liven things up. He felt that the blood in his body was boiling and restless. Yu Wenlun carried Xiao Ling horizontally and went to the inner bedroom of the office. He threw her on the bed and pressed her down. It was a charming and ambiguous romantic scene, a lingering battle. Chapter 1780. After a fierce battle, Yu Wenlun felt as if his body had been hollowed out. It was incomparably fierce and satisfying. Moreover, it lasted for a long time. Xiao Ling put on her clothes and stood by the bed looking at Yu Wenlun. You should give me the money now. Yu Wenlun suddenly felt as if he had eaten a big head green fly. Xiao Ling had completely overturned his previous impression of her. She could get out of bed and ask him for money without any burden. How could he do such a thing to this woman? He couldn't control himself at that time. Don't tell me you want to go back on your word. Xiao Ling looked at him warily. I gave you my pure body. Yu Wenlun couldn't describe what he was feeling in his heart. He was a little attached to Xiao Ling's body, but he also felt a little disgusted. This feeling was like money that fell into a latrine pit. It was disgusting to pick it up, but it felt like a loss if he didn't pick it up. Yu Wenlun wrote a check for Xiao Ling. Xiao Ling took it and looked at it. There was only 1 million on the check. What do you mean? Xiao Ling exploded in anger. Not 10 million, but 1 million. Yu Wenlun was really too treacherous. For a woman like you, 1 million is already a lot. Yu Wenlun said directly. He was disgusted and wanted to discuss Xiao Ling. Xiao Ling was so angry that she wanted to die. He was simply a scum, a slut. What was there to talk about love? He dumped her whenever he encountered a problem. Xiao Ling felt uncomfortable. Why couldn't she get love? Why was there no man who was dead set on her? In order to get 10 million, Xiao Ling was also quite desperate. 1 million per time, then 10 times. Xiao Ling asked the system why it didn't give her money directly. She needed money, 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 money. The system just said that it didn't provide such a service and there was no such service. If it provided money, wouldn't these hosts do nothing and just lie down and let him take the money? How could this be possible? Xiao Ling and Yu Wenlun formed a tacit understanding. 1 million per time. Xiao Ling endured the humiliation and finally got 10 million and handed the money to the court. Change my face now. I don't want to wear this face. After cleaning up her tail, Xiao Ling couldn't wait to change her face. She didn't want to have anything to do with Yu Wenlun. It might be a little painful when you transform. Bear with it, the system said coldly. Then, Xiao Ling felt a heart-wrenching pain. All the bones in her body seemed to have been broken, especially her face. It was as if someone had taken a hammer and hammered her face repeatedly. Her cheekbones were shattered, and her skull was also shattered. Xiao Ling clutched her head and pulled at her hair. She felt as if she had fallen into the 18 levels of hell. It was painful. Xiao Ling's eyes were bloodshot as she lay on the ground, twitching. How could this be called a little pain? This was extremely painful, okay? His bones were shattered inch by inch. This kind of pain was simply unbearable. If she could do it all over again, her life wouldn't be so miserable. If she could do it all over again, she would definitely act cautiously. When she had enough power, she would definitely take revenge on Yu Wenlun and Mu Shuyao. The more Xiao Ling resented Wenlun, the more Wenlun didn't love her and humiliated her. Unable to bear the pain, Xiao Ling fainted. However, the unconscious Xiao Ling's body was still twitching, slowly changing. When Xiao Ling woke up, her body was in pain. You have successfully changed your face. The system notified Xiao Ling. Xiao Ling climbed up from the ground and went to the washroom. She looked at the mirror and saw a completely unfamiliar face. Her features were exquisite and her temperament was noble. In the past, she had the temperament of an immortal, but now, she was graceful and luxurious like a peony flower. They were two completely different people. Now, even if Xiao Ling stood in front of her parents, they wouldn't be able to recognize her. Even Yu Wenlun, who was in love with Xiao Ling wouldn't be able to recognize her. His every move was elegant and graceful. Xiao Ling touched her face and muttered, "I like this face very much. I like it very much." In the past, her temperament was very similar to Mu Shuyao's. Now, she was unique. Xiao Ling took a shower and sized up her body. She had curves and a pair of slender and straight legs. She was very beautiful. The system was too amazing. Her entire body had undergone plastic surgery, and it was all natural. There were no traces of plastic surgery at all. If there were more of such systems, who knew how many beauties would be created? This face-changing game was really interesting. Could she change her face in the future? Just thinking about it made her excited. Plastic surgery was addictive. Changing faces was also addictive. The premise was that one could endure the pain of changing faces. In the future, if something happened that couldn't be solved, she could change her identity and start over. It was equivalent to being reborn many times. There were countless possibilities in life. Please don't think too highly of yourself. Until now, you still don't have any fans and you haven't successfully captured a man. At most, you slept with a man. It's not love at all. I didn't risk my life for you. I didn't give up my faith and interests for you. The system was incomparably cold. This is your last chance. If you still can't do it, then I can only leave you. No, please don't. I will definitely work hard. Xiao Ling was so scared that she repeatedly promised that she would work hard in the future and complete the mission given by the system. Although the system threatened her, it couldn't stop Xiao Ling's good mood. Xiao Ling turned on her computer and took out a USB drive. Then, she used her original Weibo account to post an X-rated video. The content of the video was the scene of Yu Wenluan raping Xiao Ling. The two of them were doing a deal. Occasionally, when they were playing to their heart's content, they would play a little role. With this rape game, Xiao Ling took the initiative to suggest it. Yu Wenluan also cooperated. Then, the video was created. Xiao Ling said on Weibo that she was Yu Wenluan and raped her. She also threatened her not to tell the truth. Also, Yu Wenluan was behind the plagiarism incident. In order to prevent Yu Wenluan from reuniting with his ex-girlfriend Mu Shuyao in the future, Xiao Ling also said that Yu Wenluan had helped her get the female lead role in a Xianxia drama. She was a puppet in Yu Wenluan's hands. She listened to Yu Wenluan for everything. She was young and had just entered the entertainment industry. She was ignorant and did some bad things under Yu Wenluan's misguidance. In the end, she said that the entertainment industry was too dark. She would quit the entertainment industry and asked everyone to let her go. Xiao Ling's X-rated video immediately went viral. Moreover, it was indeed Xiao Ling in the video. Yu Wenluan occasionally showed his face. The scene was clear and it was very explicit. It immediately caused a heated discussion among the netizens. After doing all this, Xiao Ling was very satisfied. Anyway, the woman in the video was no longer her. She didn't have to worry at all. Although she felt a little uncomfortable, it was more like watching someone else's passionate scene. Chapter 1781. When Ning Shu saw the video that went viral on the internet, she was stunned. Xiao Ling must have lost her mind. Otherwise, why would she do such a sad and crazy thing? She dragged Yu Wenluan down, but she blocked her own path. How could Xiao Ling survive in the entertainment industry in the future? Even if she quit the entertainment industry and lived a normal life, it would still affect her. Could it be that Xiao Ling was bewitched to do such a thing? She posted a video of her private life on the internet for thousands of keyboard warriors to watch. Could it be that Yu Wenluan really raped her and she was so angry that she took revenge in this way? However, this indirectly benefited her. After all, the mission requirement was to destroy Yu Wenluan's reputation. Now, the two of them fell out for some reason. This was really a love-hate relationship. However, Ning Shu felt that something was wrong. If Xiao Ling wanted to survive in the entertainment industry, even if she didn't want to, the system would ask her to have a lot of fans. She would be the queen of the entertainment industry with countless protectors around her. Having fans meant that she had faith and luck. No matter how stupid Xiao Ling was, she wouldn't do something like cutting off her own path of retreat. She didn't want to pursue the Prince Charming anymore. People in the entertainment industry were several levels better looking than ordinary people. They deserved to be called the Prince Charming. Could it be that the system had already left Xiao Ling? Even if it did, it wouldn't do such a crazy thing, right? Ning Shu was still very happy to be able to destroy Yu Wenluan's reputation. However, Xiao Ling's actions made her confused. It was too illogical. Moreover, Xiao Ling was in the entertainment industry in her previous life. Didn't she know the consequences? As for what Xiao Ling said on Weibo, she was young and ignorant. These words were simply nonsense. No matter how much Ning Shu hated someone, she wouldn't use such a method. Those keyboard warriors on the internet attacked women. Anyway, it was the woman's fault that such things happened. Ning Shu asked 2333, "Have you left the system?" "No, come on." 2333 replied. Ning Shu, anyway, she would take it one step at a time. Now that she was filming a TV series, Xiao Ling would definitely make a move. Even if she didn't want to make a move, the system would force her to. Ning Shu suspected that Xiao Ling had gone for plastic surgery. That was why she had risked everything to do such a thing. But even if she had gone for plastic surgery, what could be dug out would definitely be dug out. As long as it had been done, there would be traces. Ning Shu rubbed his chin as he pondered. She should also be considered Xiao Ling's enemy. Xiao Ling had already taken revenge on Yu Wenluan, so she would definitely take revenge on her. When the time came, they would definitely meet. Before that, she only needed to do her job well. When the time came, he would deal with whatever came his way. However, this didn't prevent Ning Shu from gloating over Yu Wenluan's misfortune. He had been tricked several times by a girl he thought was pure and flawless. He wondered what Yu Wenluan was feeling right now. Anyway, it wouldn't get better. Although the pornographic video was officially deleted by Weibo, the impact of this incident was huge. It wasn't just a moral issue. If this kind of thing between a man and a woman was mutually in love, others would at most gossip. But rape wasn't just a moral issue, it was also illegal. Ning Shu could completely imagine Yu Wenluan scratching his head and scratching his ears. On Weibo, a large number of Yu Wenluan's fans left and became anti-fans. Yu Wenluan's image had always been very good, and many female fans liked him. Moreover, 80% of his entertainment fans were female financial fans. Most of his fans were women. One could imagine how great Yu Wenluan's loss was. Yu Wenluan's Weibo was very lively. Everyone came to scold him. There were also some die-hard fans who asked Yu Wenluan to come out and explain, or find more reasons to absolve Yu Wenluan. For example, the man in the video wasn't their idol, and this clip was from a movie. In short, they found all kinds of reasons, but these comments were quickly drowned out by a large wave of anti-fans. They said that Yu Wenluan was a hypocrite. He used to pretend to be a gentleman, but behind his back, he was a thief and a prostitute. Yu Wenluan was a morally corrupt person. He should be arrested for the crime of rape. In short, there were all kinds of demons dancing around, taking over all the entertainment headlines. There were also people who rushed to Ning Shu's Weibo, saying that it was lucky that Ning Shu broke up with Yu Wenluan first. There were also some who wanted the world to be in chaos and wanted to cause a riot. They asked Ning Shu if Yu Wenluan had also raped her before and didn't expose Yu Wenluan's evil deeds in order to save face. Ning Shu, what the hell, what does it have to do with me? They had already broken up, but they were still tied together. Something happened, and they came to ask her how she felt. What a joke. Ning Shu didn't answer these questions with ulterior motives. It was obvious that they wanted to burn her. This kind of heat couldn't be taken advantage of. Ning Shu posted a selfie on the set and didn't say a word about Yu Wenluan's ex-boyfriend. Ning Shu thought about it and called Yu Wenluan to ask him what had happened. However, the phone couldn't get through. Yu Wenluan was almost half crippled. Ning Shu wanted to know about Xiao Ling. Because the impact of this matter was too great, even the police had filed a case and launched an investigation. Yu Wenluan was a best actor and a public figure. He occupied a lot of society's resources. As a public figure, he had the responsibility to establish a good image and guide society's good atmosphere. A best actor seemed to have raped a woman. Even if it was to appease the agitated netizens, it had to be investigated. In any case, when Yu Wenluan was mentioned in the future, he would be called a rapist. Once the label was attached to him, it was very difficult to tear it off. Just like Ning Shu now, many people still called her a vase. Even though she had already proven herself with a work, there were still people with ulterior motives who called her a vase. So what if she was a vase? She didn't cause trouble and just stood there pleasing to the eye. Yu Wenluan might be labeled a rapist for the rest of his life. Ning Shu analyzed it and felt that no matter how bad Yu Wenluan was, he wouldn't rape Xiao Ling. This should be Xiao Ling's trick. Just like in the plot, Xiao Ling had recorded it and used public opinion to deal with Mu Shuyao. It attracted an unprecedented wave of attention. Now, everyone on the internet knew Xiao Ling's name. Xiao Ling's tricks really couldn't be underestimated. In the future, he had to be careful when facing Xiao Ling. He might be framed. The internet was full of people who followed the crowd. It was a serious case of following the crowd. Ning Shu called several times but couldn't get through. It seemed that Yu Wenluan was very busy. Perhaps he deliberately didn't pick up the phone. At this time, Yu Wenluan's phone should be exploding with calls from the reporters. Moreover, Yu Wenluan had already closed the comment function on Weibo so that the surging netizens couldn't leave comments on his Weibo. However, this also hurt Yu Wenluan's fans. Chapter 1782. These fans were basically Yu Wenluan's last line of defense. No matter what happened to Yu Wenluan, they would support him. However, the words that fans and idols said to defend themselves didn't sound so nice. It was clearly Xiao Ling who seduced Yu Wenluan. I don't care, it was Xiao Ling who seduced my idol. Xiao Ling was scheming and shameless. She deliberately recorded the video and then posted it on the internet to deliberately ruin the best actor's reputation. Although he had told the truth, it was still the same saying, flies don't bite seamless eggs. The movie king's moral character was low. As the saying goes, a fan is better than 10 haters. Especially brainless fans, they would shout, no matter what happens to you, we will always love you, blah, blah. Yu Wenluan turned off the comments section on Weibo, which made some fans feel very uncomfortable. Now, how could Yu Wenluan care about the feelings of fans he didn't know? He was already in a desperate situation. The media called him every day and blocked the entrance of his studio. Now, his studio was forced to close down. Not only that, he was also called to the police station to investigate the rape case. Yu Wenluan admitted to having sex with Xiao Linger at the police station, but he felt that there was no rape and that they had sex more than once. However, the police couldn't find any trace of Xiao Ling at all, nor could they contact her. It was as if she had disappeared from the face of the earth. Without the parties involved, this matter was left unsettled. Although they couldn't file a case, there was no legal way to make Yu Wenluan drunk, so Yu Wenluan didn't have to take legal responsibility. He was fined a little, but for Yu Wenluan, the disadvantages outweighed the advantages because he didn't rape Xiao Ling at all. Xiao Ling had never appeared, and he had no way to clarify the truth. The title of rapist might have followed him forever. This was too much of a scam. Yu Wenlun didn't expect Xiao Ling to be so ruthless. She had long schemed against him, but he couldn't hold back. He even gave Xiao Ling 1 million each time. Not only did he suffer a double loss, he also lost his reputation and career. He had really been careless. It was all because Xiao Ling looked too pure and flawless. He had also underestimated women too much. To be able to exchange her body for money, she seemed to be an experienced woman in the entertainment industry who was good at using her body. However, he was still a little infatuated with Xiao Ling's body. Now, he had become the male lead of the popular F-disc. He had always been the main character, but he didn't want to be such a main character. The movie that had been shot some time ago had also suffered a setback. Now, it had been taken down from the cinema. Yu Wenlun kept trying to contact Xiao Ling, but there was no response. Xiao Ling had really disappeared. Yu Wenlun was furious. This woman was a scourge. Nothing good ever happened to her. First, he broke up with his girlfriend. Then, there was the plagiarism incident. Now, there was the rape incident. His career was almost in shambles, and there was almost no chance for him to make a comeback. Who would watch a movie made by a rapist? This woman must have a grudge against him in her previous life. Yu Wenlun was under a lot of pressure during this period of time. He did not leave his house and waited for the public opinion to cool down. Yu Wenlun didn't say anything to the outside world, but the police posted the results of their investigation online, saying that they couldn't find Xiao Ling. Yu Wenlun said that they were in a relationship and there was no rape. Since the person involved, Xiao Ling, didn't appear, this matter was settled with a fine. Yu Wenlun was speechless. Movie King's fans, didn't this indirectly mean that Yu Wenlun and Xiao Ling had a relationship? Although it was clarified, it did not improve Yu Wenlun's image at all. The police officer gave Yu Wenlun a stab. Ning Shu was about to pee from laughter. Were these uncles really not doing it on purpose? They invited Yu Wenlun for tea and gave such a conclusion. At least during this period of time, Yu Wenlun's career was at a low point. When the limelight passed, he might be able to make a comeback behind the scenes. And Xiao Ling, whom Yu Wenlun had been searching for, had changed her face and become an original singer. She posted videos of herself singing on the internet, and these songs were all her original works. Xiao Ling was no longer acting. She was walking the path of music. With a good voice and the songs given by the system, Xiao Ling gained a lot of attention. This caused Xiao Ling's video to gain some attention. In addition, Xiao Ling was now extremely beautiful and very eye-catching. Moreover, Xiao Ling was no longer called Xiao Ling. Since she had changed her face, she had to change her name too. Otherwise, people would recognize her immediately. It wasn't that Xiao Ling didn't pay attention to this. Seeing Yu Wenlun being scolded and called a rapist, Xiao Ling was very happy. What Prince Charming! He was just a lecherous and selfish man. She had done so many things for him, but in the end, he still abandoned her. If it was beneficial to him, he would have a favorable impression of her if she was obedient to him. If she made him unhappy, his favorable impression of her would drop. Xiao Ling felt that in order to woo Yu Wenlun, she had abandoned her dignity to please him, to make him happy, but she didn't get anything. Starting over, Xiao Ling had a new plan. She would no longer appear in front of those men rashly. First, she had to make herself very good. Then, those men would take the initiative to surround her like bees seeing flowers. She was really tired of pleasing a man like this, but in the end, she didn't get anything. Xiao Ling hated Yu Wenlun in her heart. Only then could he do such a thing. Seeing Yu Wenlun's anxious appearance, Xiao Ling was very happy. After accumulating a certain amount of popularity on the internet, Xiao Ling began to participate in talent shows. With the help of the system, the songs she took out every time were very stunning. Moreover, they were original works. They were beautiful and talented. The internet's evaluation of her was that she was a talented woman. She had also accumulated some fans. Ning Shu's movie was completed. This movie would definitely be popular. Ning Shu wasn't worried at all. Now, he was more worried about which corner Xiao Ling was hiding in. After such a long time, she hadn't appeared even once. Could it be that Xiao Ling didn't want to enter the entertainment industry? But the system hadn't left Xiao Ling yet. Xiao Ling didn't have the right to refuse. Ning Shu was a little impatient. He spent 5 merit points and used the GPS system to locate Xiao Ling. Where was she? She didn't appear like this. Xiao Ling was in the dark while she was in the light. This feeling was really not good. He had to know what was going on. The GPS system started to locate her. What surprised Ning Shu was that the location was in a TV station. Xiao Ling appeared in a TV station. Ning Shu went to the address. Now that Xiao Ling's reputation was so bad, why would a TV station invite her to do a show? /BK Chapter 1783. Ning Shu arrived at the TV station and followed the GPS to the venue of the talent show. He sat in the audience and looked around for Xiao Ling's figure. Some contestants were jumping and singing on the stage. Anyway, the GPS indicated that Xiao Ling was here. But Ning Shu couldn't find her. He scanned everyone in the audience with his mental power, but he couldn't find Xiao Ling. If she wasn't an audience member, then Xiao Ling was a contestant. Xiao Ling didn't get eggs thrown at her when she participated in the talent show, and the entertainment gossip didn't report it either. Xiao Ling was very popular now. But the GPS shouldn't be wrong, and it cost her 5 merit points. The performance on the stage continued. Xiao Ling also walked on the stage. She was exceptionally beautiful. Her singing was very stunning. Her voice was clear and melodious. And when she sang, she was full of emotions. Ning Shu received a system notification that the person on the stage was Xiao Ling. Ning Shu saw a completely different person from Xiao Ling. Her face was different, and her temperament was different. They were clearly 2 different people. Ning Shu was so shocked that his jaw fell to the ground. Was this really Xiao Ling? Could it be that there was something wrong with the GPS? It was completely different. The GPS locates the soul. It has nothing to do with the appearance. The soul is unique. No matter how the appearance changes, the soul is still the same, 233 explained. Ning Shu was speechless. In fact, Xiao Ling's soul had always been the same. The appearance could be changed, but the soul couldn't. Fuck, this system has such a function. It was simply an unkillable cockroach. No wonder Xiao Ling could release the video so unscrupulously. Because there was no Xiao Ling in the world. She could even drag Yuan Luan down. Ning Shu, who had been killed, was convinced. After killing one person, another one would appear. There was no end to it. How could he play this? He thought it was a simple system mission, but he didn't expect it to be so difficult. Changing the host's appearance is not an easy task. It requires the system's energy. Even if the system is doing this for its own benefit and energy, it can't keep changing the host's appearance and identity. These changes require the system's own energy. The system will not waste its time and energy on an incompetent person who can't bring it any benefits. 2333 was afraid that Ning Shu would back out, so he tried to encourage Ning Shu. Ning Shu wouldn't give up halfway. No matter how many times Xiao Ling could change her appearance and identity, he could force Xiao Ling to change her identity. At that time, the system would naturally abandon her and leave her if it couldn't get any benefits from her. All of Xiao Ling's things came from the system. Without the system, there would be no halo. On the stage, Xiao Ling was still singing. Her voice was mellow and melodious, especially pleasant to listen to. Coupled with some new songs and singing, the audience below the stage was very enthusiastic. Right now, Xiao Ling's popularity wasn't weak. If things went smoothly, Xiao Ling would enter the music industry, compose new songs, and release records. Then, she would start to woo people in the music industry, the male god of lyrics and music, the heavenly king, and the king of singers. If she was good at acting, she would sing. If she was good at singing, she would act. When she was almost done with the people in the music industry, it would be time to enter the entertainment industry and woo men. God. Actor. Ning Shu instantly understood this trick. Xiao Ling was still singing affectionately on the stage. Ning Shu bent over and left. Now that she knew Xiao Ling's identity, it was her turn to be in the dark. The current Xiao Ling was no longer called Xiao Ling but Li Kellen. In order to avoid misunderstandings and arouse people's imagination, she even changed her surname. She had really changed very thoroughly. She wondered if Xiao Ling's parents knew that their daughter had changed a lot. The original name was abandoned, the original appearance was abandoned. What else belonged to Xiao Ling? After leaving the TV station, Ning Shu went to the supermarket to buy some things. Fresh vegetables, ready to go home and cook. He had been eating greasy boxed meals on set, so his stomach was a little uncomfortable. Ning Shu stewed soup while turning on the computer. Xiao Ling has said that she was a talented composer, but these things were really not original. They were given by the system. Xiao Ling did not have the ability to write lyrics or compose music, just like she had the ability to write scripts. With the title of a talented composer, Xiao Ling had no choice but to keep asking the system for things. Ning Shu carefully recalled the songs that Xiao Ling had written in the plot, whether it was sung by herself or written for others. Ning Shu wrote them all down. In order to avoid clashing with the songs that Xiao Ling had already sung. Ning Shu also dug out Xiao Ling's previous singing videos and songs that she sang in the show. He wrote all the songs that had not appeared yet and then sold them to the Heavenly King's manager. These songs were the heavyweight classics that would appear later. The system would not give them to Xiao Ling so early. However, Ning Shu benefited from it. He packed them all up and gave them away. This time, the account that Ning Shu gave was the account of the Save Endangered Animals Foundation. The other party was quite straightforward and directly bought the rights to the songs. Who are you? Heavenly King Gu wants to meet you. The manager sent an email and Ning Shu asked. Obviously, Ning Shu often sold songs and attracted Heavenly King Gu's attention. Ning Shu did not intend to get involved with Heavenly King Gu. She did not have the ability to write lyrics and songs on the spot. Therefore, she did not want to get close to him at all. Ning Shu declined the manager's invitation. The other party obviously wanted to recruit her. Without a diamond, one would not take on a porcelain job. It was better to act in her own show. Well, there did not seem to be any risk. Even if the other party wanted to check, they could not find out. The money did not go through her hands, and the IP address was virtual. The other party was very regretful about Ning Shu's rejection. Ning Shu also kindly reminded them to apply for the intellectual property rights of the songs. Ning Shu really could not figure out why Xiao Ling had to walk the path of a talented woman. She clearly did not have the confidence and ability to rely on the system to become a talented woman. It was too easy to be exposed. Could it be that she had not learned her lesson from the plagiarism incident? Therefore, to capture a man, she had to rely on her talent and ability to attract a man, not just a beautiful face. Looks could not conquer the world. She put the computer on the coffee table and went to the kitchen to see how the soup was going. At this time, the doorbell suddenly rang. She took off her apron and looked at the person outside through the peephole. Damn, it was Yu Wenlun. Why did Yu Wenlun come to her apartment? Yu Wenlun was wearing a hat and sunglasses. He looked like he was fully armed. It was obvious that he was avoiding the reporters. Ning Shu did not open the door. Yu Wenlun, who was outside the door, rang the doorbell again. Ning Shu was indifferent. She did not intend to open the door at all. It was definitely not a good thing to come here. Maybe he wanted to lead the trouble to her. Chapter 1784. Yu Wenlun was now a high-risk group. If she was involved with him, tomorrow's headlines might be that Yu Wenlun went to his ex-girlfriend's apartment alone to meet her. Ning Shu didn't want to be involved with this kind of negative news at all. Sometimes, celebrities would do anything for hype. But if they wanted to be clean, so be it. They didn't need this kind of negative attention. Ning Shu didn't open the door. Yu Wenlun stood at the door for a long time. During this time, he pressed the doorbell twice, but Ning Shu didn't open the door. Yu Wenlun probably knew that Ning Shu didn't want to see him, so he took out his phone and called Ning Shu. Then, he realized that he had been blocked. Yu Wenlun was speechless. She was really pushing the wall down. Yu Wenlun pounded on the door with his fist and said loudly, "Mu Shuyao, I know you're inside. Open the door, I have something to tell you." Ning Shu, I'm not at home. Ning Shu felt that she didn't have anything to say to Yu Wenlun. Hadn't they already broken up? Ning Shu was a little afraid that Yu Wenlun was here to borrow money. Ning Shu only had one word, get lost. Ning Shu's goal now was to save money to buy a house and leave the company's assigned apartment. It wasn't safe to live in the company's apartment. Even Yu Wenlun, her ex-boyfriend, came looking for her. Yu Wenlun stood at the door for a few minutes. There was no movement in the house. He pressed the doorbell again and knocked on the door. "Mu Shuyao, I really have something to tell you. Open the door, open the door." Yu Wenlun knew that Ning Shu was in the house. "Ning Shu, I'm not listening, you bastard." Ning Shu sized up Yu Wenlun through the peephole. After not seeing him for a while, Yu Wenlun had lost a lot of weight. His eyes were sunken, and he didn't look as elegant as before. Career was a man's greatest charm. Moreover, Yu Wenlun's hair was faintly white. It wasn't a lie that his hair turned white overnight. Xiao Ling really tricked Yu Wenlun badly. Yu Wenlun stood at the door for a while, then put on his hat and sunglasses and left. After Yu Wenlun left, Ning Shu took out his phone and called Yu Wenlun. "Why are you looking for me?" Ning Shu asked directly. Yu Wenlun was speechless. Even if she didn't want to open the door, she should have waited until he was far away before calling him. She didn't even try to hide it. He was also drunk. Yu Wenlun said, "Do you know what Xiao Linger did to me?" Xiao Linger is a very vengeful person. Now that she has taken revenge on me, she will definitely take revenge on you in the future. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. "That's what you wanted to tell me?" He specially came to her apartment to tell her this. Yu Wenlun must have eaten his fill. He hadn't even solved his own problems, yet he still had the mood to care about her, his ex-girlfriend. "She caused me so much trouble, so she will definitely look for you. If she appears in the future, you must remember to inform me." Yu Wenlun's voice was filled with hatred. "Okay, but I don't have any conflicts with her, so she definitely won't come looking for me," Ning Shu said as he stirred the soup in the pot. "Heh, just you wait," Yu Wenlun said maliciously. TSK, the current Yu Wenlun was really full of darkness. He was probably going to be published, and Xiao Linger wouldn't appear to tell the truth for him. However, Yu Wenlun was also blinded by lust. 1 million at a time, and there was still money. 1 million for a down payment, and a big house would be easily obtained. So, you should be careful. You are better than her. You are very good. Yu Wenlun said in a low voice. Thank you for the compliment. I have always felt that way. After being cheated, he remembered the good of his ex-girlfriend. Even if you turned over a new leaf, I don't want you anymore. If he wasn't cheated, would Yu Wenlun turn back? He wouldn't. Just like in the plot, he chased after Xiao Linger without looking back. Therefore, Ning Shu's heart was not touched at all, even if he was now in the name of caring about her. Ning Shu thought for a moment and said, I don't think Xiao Linger will appear again. Since she released the video and framed you like this, she has already thought of a way out. Maybe she has already undergone plastic surgery and changed her identity. I think so, but where can I find her in a sea of people? Yu Wenlun said through gritted teeth. I think Xiao Linger will still be in the entertainment industry. You should pay more attention to the rising stars in the entertainment industry or the outstanding newcomers. No matter how a person changes, their style of doing things will not change. Ning Shu intentionally or unintentionally reminded Yu Wenlun that it would be best if they fought. This kind of love and hate drama was too exciting. Yu Wenlun would definitely not let Xiao Linger go. It was basically impossible for Yu Wenlun to return to the past. Even if it wasn't rape, Yu Wenlun and Xiao Linger had a transactional relationship. After hearing Ning Shu's words, Yu Wenlun was silent for a moment and said, I know you still have me in your heart. Ning Shu was speechless. I'm just reminding you out of humanitarianism. Don't think too much. There's nothing between us, Ning Shu said very straightforwardly. Why didn't he realize that Yu Wenlun felt so good about himself in the past? Yu Wenlun was speechless. He was so straightforward that it was unbearable. However, he was the one who said that they would break up. Even if he wanted to turn back now, he couldn't. In the past, he felt that Mu Shuyao, a vase, wasn't worthy of him. In addition, his fans called Mu Shuyao a vase every day. He had never defended his girlfriend in front of his fans. Subconsciously, he also felt that he wasn't worthy of her. Now that such a thing had happened and there was no one by his side, it felt like a lifetime had passed. Now, he was not worthy of Mu Shuyao. He was a little embarrassed by Ning Shu's straightforward words. More than that, he hated Xiao Linger for destroying his life and career. Do you have some gossip about Xiao Linger's whereabouts? Yu Wenlun asked. Ning Shu shook his head. I don't know. If you don't know, how would I know? Anyway, it's never wrong to pay more attention to the entertainment industry. Oh. Yu Wenlun didn't know what to say, so he hung up. Ning Shu scooped a bowl of soup and drank it slowly. It tasted really good. In the future, if he had the means, he would try the delicacies of every world. It would be a waste not to make use of this opportunity. He would strive to become a senior foodie and try all the delicacies of every world. This goal was also very good. Yu Wenlun's career was dispirited now. Even if he wanted to work, he didn't have a job. His previous endorsements had all been withdrawn, and the movies he had invested in didn't even earn back his capital. The losses were self-evident. The most important thing was the loss of his reputation. If his reputation was ruined, it would be difficult for him to develop. Moreover, even if he left the entertainment industry, with his current status, he wouldn't be able to mingle in other circles. Besides, in terms of earning money, how could it be faster than the entertainment industry? The box office of a movie was calculated in hundreds of millions. Once they opened, they would eat for 3 years. Chapter 1785. Yu Wenlun directly closed his studio and tirelessly searched for Xiao Linger's whereabouts. Other than the unreachable phone number, Yu Wenlun realized that he knew nothing about Xiao Linger. He didn't know her family situation or where her home was. Yuan Luan found Xiao Ling-er's hometown and found her parents. He asked them where Xiao Ling-er was now. Xiao Ling-er was considered a drifter in Beijing and her family wasn't very well off. When Yuan Luan went to find her, he was told by her parents that she didn't go home. It seemed that her parents didn't know what she had done. Yuan Luan pretended to be an admirer of Xiao Ling-er and asked her parents for her current phone number. Xiao Ling-er's parents hesitated for a moment before giving him the phone number. Yuan Luan took the phone number to the mobile company to find out who had this number, but the person he found was Li Kellen. Who was Li Kellen? How could Xiao Ling-er's parents have Xiao Ling-er's phone number? After finding Li Kellen, Yuan Luan searched for information about her. Then, he found music videos and information about Li Kellen's talent show. This person didn't look like Xiao Ling-er at all. There was no similarity. How could she be Xiao Ling-er? She must have had plastic surgery to change her identity. This bitch even changed her surname. Yuan Luan decided to alert the enemy and meet this Li Kellen. After signing up for the TV station and looking at Li Kellen on stage, Yuan Luan had the same reaction as Ning Shu. Could plastic surgery make her look like this? She was a completely different person. Listening to Li Kellen's songs, Yuan Luan had a feeling that this woman would become popular. Her style was changeable. In one performance, she would sing a mellow and melodious love song. In the next performance, she would sing a very lively song that could blow up the scene. Moreover, these songs were all self-composed by her. At the mention of self-composed songs, Yuan Luan thought of the plagiarism incident. Yuan Luan took a bouquet of flowers and went backstage to give it to Xiao Ling-er. Xiao Ling-er was touching up her makeup in front of the mirror when a bouquet of flowers appeared in front of her. Xiao Ling-er was stunned at first. Then, she looked at the person in the mirror and her expression changed. She almost couldn't help but stand up. Then, she calmed her mind, took the bouquet, and thanked him politely. "Thank you for the flowers, sir." Xiao Ling-er looked at Yuan Luan with a strange expression. If it wasn't for this woman's previous gaffe, Yuan Luan would have thought that he might have found the wrong person. "Xiao Ling-er, we meet again," Yuan Luan said in a low voice. Xiao Ling-er's body stiffened. Her eyes were confused and innocent. "Sir, who are you talking about? You've got the wrong person." Yuan Luan said fiercely, "Xiao Ling-er, even if you turn into ashes, I'll still recognize you. Even if you change your face, you can't change the frivolity and viciousness in your bones." Xiao Ling-er frowned and returned the flowers to Yuan Luan. "Sir, if you're here to give me flowers, I welcome you. Thank you for liking my song. But you came to find trouble with me for no reason and mistook me for someone else. You're really too much. Please leave. This is the backstage." "Xiao Ling-er, how long can you keep up this act? I went to look for your parents." Yuan Luan looked at Xiao Ling-er's pale face and felt a little happy. "Sir, I'm not Xiao Ling-er at all. How many times do you want me to say it?" Xiao Ling-er pretended to be offended and took out her ID card from her bag. Look, see if I'm the person you're talking about." Yuan Luan took the ID card and looked at it suspiciously. The name on the card was Li Kellen, and the photo was of her. Did he really get it wrong? Yuan Luan looked at the ID card and Xiao Ling-er back and forth. This ID card really confused Yuan Luan. Yuan Luan took out his phone and took a picture of the ID card. Xiao Ling-er quickly snatched her ID card. "What do you mean by this? Why are you taking a picture of my ID card? Are you trying to do something bad with my ID card? I want to find out your identity. I firmly believe that you are someone I know," Yuan Luan said directly. He was not confused by Xiao Ling-er's beauty at all. He had already suffered a loss this time. This time, he would not repeat the same mistake. "Are you crazy? You've got the wrong person. You still want to take a picture of my ID card? Even the police don't have this right. Xiao Ling was a little flustered. She didn't expect that Yu Wenlun would find her based on a phone number. Her parents were really stupid teammates. If she had known earlier, she wouldn't have contacted them. Moreover, they weren't ordinary stupid teammates. How could they give her phone number to a strange man? Now, Yu Wenlun had eaten her heart. If Yu Wenlun confirmed that she was Xiao Ling, she would die a very rhythmic death. You mistook me for the person you're looking for based on a wrong phone number. I have reason to suspect that you're trying to intimidate me. Xiao Ling's face was serious. When she was angry, she was very imposing. It's not impossible to call the police. Let the police check if your ID card is real. Do you think you can fool the world with a fake ID card? Yu Wenlun was fearless. He had nothing to lose now. His career had been ruined by this woman. This woman still wanted to be free and unfettered. Dream on. Xiao Ling sneered. Then call the police to check my ID card and see if it's fake. Humph. Xiao Ling wasn't afraid at all. This ID card was given to her by the system. It was someone else's name. There were no loopholes in her identity. Even if the police wanted to check, they wouldn't be able to find anything. Yu Wenlun looked at Xiao Ling's fearless expression and couldn't help but suspect that he had found the wrong target. However, his intuition told him that the woman in front of him was not wrong. From the way the woman pretended not to know him when she saw his abnormality, it was all an act. But don't forget, he was the best actor. Whether it was real or fake, whether there were traces of acting, he could feel it. And this woman was a little afraid of him. She didn't do anything wrong, nor did she do anything to let him down. Why was she afraid of him? You're Xiao Ling. No matter how hard you try to hide it, I can still recognize you. Yu Wenlun kept smiling at Xiao Ling, revealing his white teeth. Yu Wenlun's smile didn't have any warmth. It was cold and lifeless. This made Xiao Ling have a bad premonition. This man couldn't be blaming her, right? If he really did, she would definitely call the police. She was no longer Xiao Ling. He had no reason to falsely accuse her. Presumably, the best actor had plagiarized, raped, and then persecuted and threatened a female artist. Wouldn't this be a very interesting thing? /BK Chapter 1786. She was no longer Xiao Ling. She already had a brand new identity. Yu Wenlun told the public that she was Xiao Ling, but no one believed him. Instead, they thought he was crazy. Therefore, she didn't need to be afraid at all. Yu Wenlun recognized her and told the world that she was Xiao Ling. But others wouldn't believe it at all. Her face was completely different, and her identity was different. Therefore, she had the upper hand in this matter. Xiao Ling didn't panic like before. She had completely calmed down now. She looked at Yu Wenlun with contempt. She even looked forward to it. Yu Wenlun said everywhere that he was clever. Others would only think he was crazy. She could even say that Yu Wenlun saw her and wanted to rape her, but she didn't allow it. Then, she told everyone that she was Xiao Ling. She used this opportunity to attract some attention, and her popularity faded again. Xiao Ling was fearless. She wasn't afraid of Yu Wenlun's revenge. Now that Yuan was ruined, her reputation in the entertainment industry was rotten. Go and call the police. Let the police judge this matter. Maybe tomorrow's entertainment headlines will be, "Rapist Harassing Original Talent." Xiao Ling looked at Yu Wenlun provocatively. She even looked forward to Yu Wenlun doing this. She wasn't too popular now, so she needed to borrow some people's east wind. Yu Wenlun rushed over at this time to be her stepping stone. He was just a stinky man. What did he think he could do to her? Yu Wenlun looked at the arrogant and shameless Xiao Ling, in shock. How could there be such a shameless woman in the world? At this time, she wasn't afraid of being caught at all. Instead, she wanted to use this opportunity to become popular. She was full of confidence and wasn't afraid at all. Why did he feel that this woman was pure, kind, and flawless? But Yu Wenlun was even better. How did Xiao Ling become like this? Her face had completely changed. Even her identity had changed. Looking at Xiao Ling's appearance, this identity card should be the same. How did she do it? If she had this kind of power and background, why would she still be in the entertainment industry? She wouldn't have slept with him for 10 million yuan. If she was someone with a background, she wouldn't have given him her virginity for money. Xiao Ling's family background wasn't good, so how did she change into another person and change her identity? Yu Wenlun really couldn't figure it out. He felt that Xiao Ling's identity was riddled with mysteries. He needed to go back and investigate this Xiao Ling. The more Wenlun thought about it, the more he felt that Xiao Ling had a big secret. Maybe he could uncover it. Rashly coming to the police and telling the truth to the media would only increase Xiao Ling's exposure and help him. In this world, Xiao Ling was not the only intelligent person. Yu Wenlun had suffered a loss at Xiao Ling's hands. Naturally, he learned from his mistakes. I will make you kneel and beg for mercy one day. But now is not the time. You're on your own now. Yu Wenlun said and turned to leave. At this time, there was no point in tangling with Xiao Ling. He wanted to check her identity card and the secret behind Xiao Ling's face-changing face. When the time came, he would make Xiao Ling suffer a fate worse than death. Seeing Xiao Ling again, Yu Wenlun's heart was full of hatred. Xiao Ling didn't feel guilty about what he had done. She didn't even feel afraid. This was a complete provocation and insult to him. She didn't put him in her eyes at all. This deeply hurt Yu Wenlun's heart. He was Xiao Ling's stepping stone. He had imagined Xiao Ling's frightened face when he recognized her, but it didn't happen. Instead, he was angered to death by this woman's shamelessness. Moreover, he really couldn't do anything to Xiao Ling. Yu Wenlun was completely defeated. Please come and correct me after your investigation. I'm not Xiao Ling. If you're sick, go see a doctor. The brain is a good thing. Xiao Ling sat on the chair with her slender legs crossed and mocked Yu Wenlun. Yu Wenlun endured and said in a gentlemanly manner, I will. Please wait and see. I'll wait. Xiao Ling slightly moved. She was dignified and elegant, like a graceful and luxurious peony flower. Also, my name is Li Kellen, not Xiao Ling. Yu Wenlun snorted and turned to leave. Then, he went to verify the ID information in the phone. In the end, he found that the ID was real. Moreover, the photo on the ID was also real. It seemed to have nothing to do with Xiao Ling. It seemed to be a misunderstanding caused by a wrong phone number. But he was sure that it was Xiao Ling. How did Xiao Ling do it? Before the matter was clear, Yu Wenlun wouldn't say it out loud. Moreover, no one believed him. Yu Wenlun called Ning Shu and told him to be careful of a woman named Li Kellen. Ning Shu was a little surprised that Yu Wenlun found Xiao Ling so early. But why did he call to tell her? She was busy now. She was busy with the promotion of the TV series and earning money. Xiao Ling didn't need to do much. She would give herself away. It was like plagiarism. She had already given many classic songs to superstars. If plagiarism was exposed, Xiao Ling would definitely be in trouble. Not only did she sell the lyrics to superstars, but she also sold them to famous lyricists. Professional things should be done by professionals. Moreover, if something happened, most people would believe in professionals. They wouldn't believe a novice who had no reputation and no talent. Mu Shuyao, be careful. This woman's shamelessness is unimaginable, Yu Wenluan said to Ning Shu on the phone. Ning Shu put his phone aside and turned on his computer to read the gossip and information. He didn't listen to Yu Wenluan seriously. As for Yu Wenluan's actions, Ning Shu only thought that he wanted to find an ally or that he felt a little guilty. He thought of his girlfriend when he was in trouble. Maybe he wanted to reconcile. Ning Shu completely ignored him. In the plot, Yu Wenluan also ignored the client and followed Xiao Ling obediently, escorting Xiao Ling. Because of some reason, the two of them became enemies. Now, he was trying to get back his ex-girlfriend. Well, a good horse wouldn't eat the old grass. Who would wait for you in the same place? If she waited for you with no regrets, others would die. Yu Wenluan felt that his ex-girlfriend was still reluctant to part with him. She really thought of him as a golden goose. Oh, it's none of my business. Please don't call me again in the future. After saying that, she hung up the phone and blocked Yu Wenluan. /BK. Chapter 1787. Ning Shu didn't have a good feeling about Yu Wenluan. A beauty ran over and dumped his ex-girlfriend. Now that the woman had tricked him, he came to find his ex-girlfriend. Did he have a firm stance and courage? He felt that his ex-girlfriend might share his trials and tribulations with him, even if he did something wrong. She wanted loyalty, but she didn't have loyalty. She wanted character, but she didn't have a career. Now that her looks had declined, what did you want her for? What did you want? Did she look so cheap? There were many men in the world. Yu Wenluan was hung up on. When he called again, he couldn't get through. Yu Wenluan was so angry that he almost smashed the phone. These women were all realistic. Now that he was down and out, these women looked at him like a plague. Ning Shu knew that Yu Wenluan would be angry, but so what? Anyway, she was the victim from the beginning to the end. It was Yu Wenluan who cheated on her and unilaterally broke up with her. It was Yu Wenluan who fooled around with other women and was even rumored to have been raped. Anyway, she was right in this matter. The fault wasn't her, but Yu Wenluan. With reason and evidence, no one could attack her. Even if Yu Wenluan wanted to attack her, his own character and morals couldn't stand. He would only be treated as a joke. It felt good to like this kind of person who did bad things and still acted sanctimonious. She did bad things, but no one found out that she did bad things. It felt good. Yu Wenluan thought about how to expose Xiao Ling's true colors all day long. He even looked everywhere for evidence of Xiao Ling's plastic surgery, but there was nothing. Seeing that Xiao Ling's fans were increasing and that she was shining on the stage, Yu Wenluan hated her so much. Especially now that many record companies had found Xiao Ling, wanting to turn her into a musical talent and prepare to release an album. Yu Wenluan was anxious to death. She had clearly harmed him, but she was still rising step by step. His enemy was getting better and better, and he might not be able to recover. Yu Wenluan's heart burned with a raging flame. He couldn't wait to die together with Xiao Ling. No matter how much Yu Wenluan hated her, Xiao Ling still walked her own music path and signed with a record company. Then, the company asked Xiao Ling to write her own songs and create an album. Since he was creating his own album, Xiao Ling chose the best and most beautiful songs. He filtered through all the songs given to him by the system and handed in the lyrics. Xiao Ling was a little afraid that the company would take his results for themselves and give these songs to other singers. She said that the songs in these albums couldn't be left out. In the future, she would write some other songs. According to the system, these songs were very popular in other worlds and had been sung for a long time. He had to strive for instant popularity. Once he established his position in the music industry, he would be able to interact with those heavenly kings in the music industry and slowly gain their favor. To be honest, the songs that Xiao Ling submitted were very mixed. There were refreshing songs, lively and catchy songs, and lively square dance songs. The music planner's intention was not to make such a mess. Some songs had to be shaved off. Then, Xiao Ling was unhappy. She felt that the company was coveting her songs. The people from the record company, was this a hodgepodge? These songs were all very good. At that time, it was so messy that it didn't have its own style. The people from the record company directly said that if you weren't willing to produce an album, then forget it. Only then did Xiao Ling unwillingly remove some songs. These songs that were removed were snatched away by other singers. Xiao Ling was furious. These songs would be popular in the future. How could these people benefit so easily? Xiao Ling argued with the company. The company gave her some money as a token. Who cared about this little money? However, she was at a disadvantage now. When she became famous and opened her own music studio, she wouldn't have to look at these people's faces anymore. Xiao Ling recorded every day and prepared her own album. She wanted to make it perfect. However, something still happened. Xiao Ling took out so many songs, and the songs that were removed were given to other singers to sing. One of the singers was exposed for plagiarism. It was because he sang a song on a program and it happened to clash with this song. This singer also had a cute face. My song was written by the company and he was in charge of singing it. Now, there was plagiarism. This singer felt terrible. Then, he went to the company and asked why he sang a plagiarized song. This song was actually prepared by the Heavenly King for his album. He was already preparing to sing it. Now, it was suddenly sung by another person. This song was definitely going to be scrapped. The two parties negotiated and found the record company to ask for an explanation. This song was signed by their side. It was registered a few months ago. Why did it suddenly leak out? Now, they were asking the record company for compensation and even asked to check the record company's songs. Other than this, were there other plagiarized songs? It was exactly the same. The lyrics were exactly the same. Even the tune was exactly the same. If this wasn't plagiarism, what was? These songs were very important to them. They were songs that they had put a lot of effort into. Now that it was suddenly sung by someone else, the beauty of their ancestors had been stolen. This loss was self-evident. Moreover, this song was very popular. It became popular all of a sudden, and it made the singer popular as well. Even if they took back this song, the first singer was still the same. The person who sang the second song was a cover of someone else's song. This made them very angry. The record company also had a cute face. This was a song written by a talented woman. How did it become plagiarism? However, the other party's song was already registered a few months ago. Moreover, when they checked, a few songs in Xiao Ling's album were also the same. Xiao Ling's recording was originally going well, but she was forced to stop. This album might not be released. Not only would it not be released, but it might also cause a lawsuit. They recruited a newcomer into the company and in the end, it caused such a problem. She was simply a jinx. The record company couldn't get Xiao Ling to come forward and give an explanation. Moreover, the other party's compensation might also be paid by Xiao Ling. Xiao Ling was even more cute. How did she plagiarize again? Her things were clearly given to her by the system. The system already said that it was something from another world. But why did it appear? Could it be that there were people from another world in this world? Why didn't they appear? What made Xiao Ling even more depressed was that the people who seemed to have collided this time seemed to be the Heavenly King that she wanted to woo and the gold medal lyricist. Now that she was labeled as a plagiarist, how was she going to make these people like her? Not to mention making a good impression, they might even hate her to the core. I didn't plagiarize these songs. I really wrote these songs. Xiao Ling explained to the company's higher-ups. But the company's higher-ups didn't listen. /BK. Chapter 1788. The higher-ups of the record company didn't listen to Xiao Ling's explanation at all because the evidence was conclusive. Her song had already been registered a few months earlier than theirs. At that time, Xiao Ling hadn't even participated in a talent show yet. There was no advantage in time. The other party had already created it. Furthermore, who was the other party? He was a gold medal lyricist and a king of singers in the music industry. People like them were very influential. They no longer cared about money. Instead, they cared about reputation and success. Now that someone had copied his work, he would definitely jump up in a hurry. Therefore, Xiao Ling's record company stopped Xiao Ling's album. Xiao Ling's album was aborted. The company also asked Xiao Ling to give an explanation. Their record company would not take the blame, and these songs were indeed written by Xiao Ling herself. If the other party wanted any compensation, the company would not be responsible for a single cent. Moreover, the company would also suffer a loss. Therefore, Xiao Ling was responsible for this matter alone. Xiao Ling had a familiar sense of déjà vu. It was just like when he was wrongly accused of plagiarizing the script. At first, he was abandoned by Yu Wenluan, and now, he was abandoned by the record company. Who was it? Who was it that wanted to harm her? Why? Or was there someone else in this world who had a system like her? But why was there no abnormality at all? It was like a venomous snake spying on her. This feeling made Xiao Ling's scalp tingle. What was more frightening was the compensation. She had no money to pay for it. She felt that the whole world was against her. She could not succeed in whatever she wanted to do. Why? Also, why did the things the system gave him always collide with other people? Was the system trying to harm her? Xiao Ling doubted herself, doubted society, doubted the system, doubted everything. The successive blows made Xiao Ling lose confidence. Why couldn't she succeed in whatever she wanted to do? After going through hellish pain, changing her identity and changing her face, she still ended up in such a situation. The first time was a coincidence, but the second time couldn't be a coincidence. Someone must be messing with her. Who was harming her behind her back? Was it Yu Wenluan? Could it be someone else? Could it be Yu Wenluan's ex-girlfriend? After all, she was the one who caused them to break up. All sorts of thoughts flashed through Xiao Ling's mind, but the most important thing now was to get through this hurdle. But this time, it was going to be difficult. It was not a one-time scenario, but a one-time scenario and Yu Wenluan. But who should she turn to? Should she turn to the system? System, you're actually here to harm me, right? Otherwise, why is it that every time you give me the same thing? Tell me, what should I do? Xiao Ling had no choice but to negotiate with the system. He could only rely on the system now. Moreover, she could not afford the compensation. More importantly, her reputation was ruined again. Did she have to change her face again? Even if his face changed, there was still one person who would chase after him, and that was Yu Wenluan. Jonah regretted that she had gone too far back then, but it was useless to regret now. She had to solve the current problem first. I'm only responsible for providing you with things, but if there's a problem with the things, it's within my scope. Also, you're really too stupid, the system said without any sincerity. It had already given so much energy to this woman, but what did she get in return? Without tens of millions of fans providing faith, strength, and luck, and without seducing a man and seizing his luck, there was nothing. This woman still had the nerve to blame him and blame him. She was simply a piece of trash. The system was very angry. It had sacrificed a lot and gained a lot. It had wasted some energy to change this woman's identity and face. In the end, this woman was useless. Solve it yourself. If you can't solve it, then. The system omitted the words. Xiao Ling also knew the threat, but she really couldn't think of a way. Money, 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 it was all money. Things that could be solved with money were small matters, but without money, it was a big matter. Moreover, she could no longer survive in the music industry. If she used the name Li Kellen, she would not be able to survive in the music industry because she would be called a plagiarist. It was just like how she could not survive in the entertainment industry if she used the name Xiao Ling. What should she do? The entertainment industry this year was really interesting. Waves of good shows came one after another. The talented girl Li Kellen's plagiarism caused a huge sensation on the internet. At the beginning, Li Kellen was praised by so many people, but now, she was so black. It was painful to fall from a high position. Moreover, it was a plagiarism of a superstar's song. She was directly drowned by the superstar's fans. A mouthful of saliva from the superstar's fans could drown Xiao Ling. These fans all shouted for Xiao Ling to get out of the music industry and not tarnish music. When Xiao Ling saw these comments, she was so stifled that she wanted to die. The record company was pressuring her step by step, but there was something even more stifling. Yu Wenluan, that bitch, actually said that she was Xiao Ling. Yu Wenluan said that Xiao Ling had a record of plagiarism and was a habitual plagiarist. In order to compensate for the 10 million compensation, she actually seduced him and filmed the so-called rape video. Yu Wenluan took out evidence that the name Li Kellen was someone else's and that she was an orphan. Yu Wenluan actually found out that the orphan had died long ago. Xiao Ling tried her best to argue that she was not Xiao Ling. She was Li Kellen, an orphan since young. It was because Yu Wenluan wanted to harass her and do something bad to her. After being sternly rejected by her, Yu Wenluan flew into a rage out of humiliation and poured dirty water on her. Xiao Ling was now in a pinch. She didn't know what to do. Whether it was Xiao Ling's identity or Li Kellen's identity, it was not good for her. These two names were a pit. Xiao Ling really wanted to change her face and become another person. This way, no one would be able to find her again. Yu Wenluan was so excited. Seeing Xiao Ling's final struggle, he took out evidence and found Li Kellen's orphanage. The director said that Li Kellen had died long ago. It was just that her identity was not revoked. Yu Wenluan directly asked Li Kellen questions. What was the name of the previous director? What were the buildings in the orphanage? What were the characteristics? Living in the orphanage, Xiao Ling should be familiar with the environment of the orphanage. Xiao Ling looked around and didn't directly answer these questions. She only said that it had been too long and she had forgotten. Moreover, Yu Wenluan was targeting her just because she didn't listen to him. The internet was surging with emotions. More people were gossiping about Xiao Ling. How did she suddenly become another person? Where did she get plastic surgery? Xiao Ling said that she didn't have plastic surgery. She went to a professional plastic surgery hospital to verify whether she had plastic surgery. She tried her best to prove that she was Li Kellen and not Xiao Ling. Thank you little cuties who have been subscribing and voting. Thank you for your support. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to continue writing. /BK Chapter 1789. What Xiao Ling did was useless. Even if she proved that she wasn't Xiao Ling, what was the point? No one believed Xiao Ling's identification results. Xiao Ling was now so black that she couldn't be washed clean. Even if she explained and proved that she wasn't Xiao Ling, Li Kellen's identity was still full of debt and she was labeled as a plagiarist. Ning Shu watched as Luo fought with each other. Not only did Yu Wenluan hit Xiao Linger when she was down, he even covered her with a manhole cover. He wanted to make sure that Xiao Linger would never see the light of day again. It was obvious how much he hated Xiao Linger. Aha, they were husband and wife for a night, 100 days of grace. Yu Wenluan liked her on the premise that it didn't harm his interests. If his interests were harmed, it would be the same for everyone. Not just Mu Shuyao, but also Xiao Linger. In ancient times, men relied on hunting and killing to make a living. They were trained through blood and slaughter. This violence was hidden in their bones. Men's blood came from this. No matter how elegant a man was, violence was hidden in his bones. Whether it was physical violence or mental violence, it was engraved in his genes. Under the stimulation of a certain environment, it would awaken like an evil dragon. Yu Wenluan, under the blow to his career in Xiao Linger's deceit, wanted to kill Xiao Linger. Xiao Linger pursued these men under the system's instructions. The system called these men Prince Charming and even asked its host to pursue them and steal their luck. The client had been cheated because of such a man and because she was this man's girlfriend. Ning Shu knew that Xiao Ling would fail, but he didn't expect it to be so fast. None of her things were her own. They were all given to her by the system. These songs would clash sooner or later. Ning Shu didn't do anything. He just exposed these songs in advance and gave them to influential people in advance. Did Xiao Ling have no way to fight back? If Xiao Linger's things were written by herself, how could this happen? She blindly relied on the system's things. If Ning Shu didn't appear in this world, Xiao Ling would have shone brightly. Actually, it wasn't a big deal for Xiao Linger to pursue these men and steal their luck. These men couldn't control themselves and went for it. They deserved it. Did they think that they were so charming? But innocent people should not be harmed. Not only did I steal your man, but I also want your reputation to be ruined so that you can no longer survive in the entertainment industry. This is too much of a bully. A murder caused by a man. Ning Shu was a little unhappy. She had filmed a TV series some time ago and it had already become popular. In the end, it was suppressed by this matter. Sigh, this kind of gossip was still the most eye-catching. However, Ning Shu was still very happy, because she now had the money to buy a house, and she could buy a bigger house. No matter what happened, she would have a place to go. She didn't want to live in the apartment assigned to her by the company. Maybe one day, Yu Wenluan would run over in the name of caring about her, but she didn't know what he was thinking in his heart. At least in this world, she definitely wouldn't have any relationship or progress with Yu Wenluan. This kind of man should be left to Xiao Linger. Perhaps they might hate each other so much now, but in the future, they might love and hate each other. Who knows, it might even become an epic love story. Some people could turn something rotten into a god, turn hatred into love, and have happy endings. He raped her, tortured her, possessed her, imprisoned her, and finally loved her. As long as everyone gave a little love, the world would become a beautiful tomorrow. A world filled with love. Oh my, just thinking about it made Ning Shu's blood boil. As expected, after experiencing too many melodramatic worlds, Ning Shu couldn't control her imagination anymore. Of course, the premise was that Xiao Ling had to be so beautiful. No matter how unbearable it would be beautiful if it was a flower after a storm. Ugly ghost, who would be in the mood to play with you? Ning Shu felt that the system should be leaving Xiao Linger soon, right? If it changed faces again, not to mention the audience, they wouldn't be able to take it. Probably even the system wouldn't be able to take it. Right now, Xiao Linger's path to becoming a heavenly queen wasn't smooth. She didn't have many loyal fans, and she didn't have any outstanding performance. Instead, she was accused of plagiarism twice. The system would probably give up on this host soon. The system had really suffered a huge loss. If it couldn't get any benefits, it would definitely change its candidate. Moreover, it would probably leave this world. Because things from other worlds frequently appeared in this world, the system would definitely be suspicious. It wouldn't seek development in this world, and might even run to a world with less entertainment. At that time, the host created would be even more stunning. Therefore, she must stop the system. The system had already decided to leave Xiaoling, and Xiaoling had no choice but to ask the system for help. She even blamed it. Think of a way. I'm already at my wit's end. Why don't I change my face again? Even though the system had always been noble and cold, it couldn't help but be speechless when it heard Xiaoling's words. Did she really think that she didn't need energy to transform? It spent so much energy and resources on this woman, but in the end, it didn't get any benefits. A waste of time, a waste of energy, and she was even angry. It was a losing deal. Seeing that you're such a waste, I'll just recycle your soul. Say something, give me an idea. It's all because you gave me the wrong thing. Why is there a collision? Can't you check it first? Xiaoling still didn't know that the system was planning to swallow her soul. She was actually still bargaining with the system. The system didn't say anything. It still didn't say anything. Xiaoling thought that the system in her mind was dead. It didn't reply to her at all. Xiaoling immediately panicked. She felt like she was being abandoned. The system was her one and only. If the system abandoned her, she really had no other choice. The compensation was too high. She couldn't afford it. Say something. I'm already in this state. Can't you take out some money? You can even change your ID and hack into the police system. Why can't you hack into the bank system and get me some money? This is the last time I'm begging you. In the future, I will obediently complete missions and fulfill your requests. Xiaoling begged. The system still didn't say anything. It still didn't say anything. Xiaoling was about to break down. She pulled her hair. Why was it like this? That bitch Yuanluan chased after her and now she was in debt. Was she being forced to die, /BK? Chapter 1790. Xiaoling couldn't bear to die. She was someone who didn't cherish life. After being reborn, the longer she lived, the more afraid she was of death. But the current situation could only be solved by death. There was no way out. Why don't you help me change my face? I'll sneak out of the country and develop there. You should have foreign works, right? The more Xiaoling thought about it, the more she felt that it was a good idea. She could start over. After being bullied in this country, she could come back when she was rich. Foreign songs, foreign TV series, foreign movies, this was a huge market. Out of this country, there was a vast sky outside. Xiaoling suddenly understood. Why did she have to fight to the death in this country? As long as she took a step out, the sky would no longer be the same. She had finally found a solution. Xiaoling heaved a sigh of relief. When she returned, she would definitely kill Yuanluan to avenge this time. Sure enough, there was always a way out. Xiaoling said, this time, make my face look more like a European. My facial features are deep and three-dimensional, with a bit of Eastern beauty. In short, make me a mixed blood. System, why did this woman think that he would help her change her face? A face change required a lot of energy. He didn't want to waste this energy now. This woman was just mud that couldn't support a wall. He didn't want to support her anymore. Did she really think that his energy came from the wind? When I'm overseas, I'll do my best. I'll do my best to capture men. There are many male idols in foreign countries. Moreover, they are all tall and mighty male idols with deep facial features. They have big weapons and good looks. The system was silent. It was a little tempted. It had spent so much energy on this woman and had lost so much. It was like gambling. It wanted to win back what it had lost. It always felt that it could make a comeback. But now, it had to stop the loss immediately. It couldn't bear to lose what it had lost before. It was not reconciled. The system was in a dilemma. Xiao Ling was a little scared. She wanted to dig out her heart to prove her determination. She could only rely on the system now. In the future, if you tell me to go east, I won't go west. If you tell me to go forward, I won't go back. I'll listen to everything you say. When we go abroad, we will have better development. It's not like our country. It's a society of human relationships. Without resources, we can't go far. Xiao Ling analyzed to the system. Also, I suspect that there are people in the country who have the same system as me. So, what we need to do now is to temporarily hide and develop. Only then can we deal with them. Hearing Xiao Ling's words, the system suddenly thought of something and made up its mind. It wanted to leave this woman. Other than the fact that she was useless, more importantly, there seemed to be other invaders in this world. It would be rather troublesome if they were to oppose each other. Besides, if the host he chose didn't have the ability, he could just choose another world and not this world. Xiao Ling never thought that she would shoot herself in the foot. Even her soul might be devoured by the system. There was nothing to hesitate about. He wanted to break away from this woman who couldn't do anything right. Ning Shu spent 5 merit points and located Xiao Ling's location. It was a community. Ning Shu was sitting in a coffee shop outside the community. There was a red dot on the positioning system, which meant that Xiao Ling had been staying at home. However, Ning Shu noticed that the red dot was getting dimmer and dimmer. It went from bright red to dark red. Moreover, the red dot was getting smaller and smaller. The red dot represented the soul. Now, Xiao Ling's soul was dimming. What did this mean? Is the system going to leave Xiao Ling and it's going to devour Xiao Ling's soul? It seemed that the system was ruthless. Not only did it control the host and turn them into a slave, but it also exploited the last value of the puppet host. Ning Shu had seen a system that asked the host to sacrifice the soul of their loved ones. 2333 said, it should be. The soul is a good thing. It has the power of the soul and the origin of the soul. Then what do we do now? Do we watch the system devour Xiao Ling's soul? Ning Shu frowned. What else can we do? Save her. Let's wait. After the system devours the soul and leaves the host's body, I can directly invade, 2333 said directly. You also want the power of the soul and the origin of the soul. Ning Shu stirred his coffee and took a sip of the bitter coffee. Everything the system devours becomes yours. Ning Shu felt that 2333 must have devoured a lot of good things. Forget it. Absorbing such a mixed power of the soul and the origin of the soul will only bring me harm and no benefits. It's simply lowering my style, 2333 said with some disdain. Ning Shu pouted. That smug look on his face. He always urged him to do the system's missions. Now, he even looked down on him. You want to save her? 2333 asked. I don't think she needs saving. Save her. Why not? If I can save her, I'll save her. Ning Shu stirred his coffee. The coffee emitted white smoke. 2333, why should I save her? It's a waste of time and energy. It's also troublesome. 2333 didn't want to save her. Even if the power of the soul and the origin of the soul were mixed, it was still better than nothing. What's the point of her dying? Besides, Yu Wenluan still hasn't vented his anger. If Xiao Ling dies like this, he might burn me down. Yu Wenluan is a bit crazy right now. What if he wants to get back together with me? Letting the two of them get together is giving them a chance to torture their relationship. They should thank me, Ning Shu said unhurriedly. If she died, everything would be over. If the system left Xiao Ling would return to her original state. She would return to her original state. This was the most torturous thing. After working so hard for so long, in the end, it was like drawing water with a bamboo basket. The psychological difference was unbearable. 2333. It's so scary. Ning Shu, fuck off. Can you save her? Ning Shu asked 2333. Yes, but the magnetic field of the two systems might hurt the host. After all, I invaded her brain and caused brain damage. She might become a fool or a lunatic, 2333 said. He didn't want to waste the effort. When the other party absorbed the soul, she would naturally leave the body. That way, it would be easier for him to deal with her. Ning Shu said indifferently, the soul of a fool or a lunatic will be devoured eventually. It's useful to keep Xiao Ling alive. Okay, 2333 said unhappily. Ning Shu drank his coffee, paid the bill, and went downstairs to Xiao Ling's place. /BK. Chapter 1791. Ning Shu raised his head and looked at the house. Xiao Ling should be living on the 8th floor. He said to 2333, let's do it. Don't wait anymore. She's going to die. Do you think she has that little bit of soul power and soul origin? I'm doing this for your own good. I'm afraid you can't resist the temptation and devour it, 2333. You're underestimating my willpower. Do I look like the kind of person who would care about a little bit of soul power and soul origin? I don't want to drink clean water. I want to drink dirty water. Are you crazy or am I crazy? Only this kind of wild system would be so desperate. I'm a system with standards, integrity, and taste, okay? Zhang Ziyan frowned. That's right. Untreated soul power and soul origin carried a lot of negative emotions. It was like untreated sewage. He wouldn't drink such things unless he had no other choice. He hadn't fallen to the point of drinking such things yet. Ning Shu twitched the corner of his mouth. It was rare for him to talk nonsense with 2333. Anyway, 2333 was right. Ning Shu released his power of the will. He could just see the situation in the house. Xiao Ling was lying on the ground and twitching. She was holding her head. The veins on her forehead were exposed and her face was distorted. Xiao Ling's body was very uncomfortable. Something was tearing her body apart. Although she was in pain, Cleverly's face had a half-smile, half-cry expression. Xiao Ling had experienced such pain before. She thought the system was helping her change her face, but she didn't expect the system to devour her soul. She was still fantasizing about the beautiful future of changing her face. She would stand on the podium and be watched by thousands of people. There would be protectors and passionate fans around her. Those who mocked her and hurt her in the past would get their retribution. Xiao Ling hypnotized herself and used this method to resist the pain. However, Xiao Ling felt more and more pain. She felt like she was going to die. Her body was getting colder and colder. Her spirit was getting worse and worse. Was she going to die from the pain? Xiao Ling didn't want to give up. She still had so many things to do. She still wanted to become a diva and a movie queen. She wanted to have a luxurious and successful life. She wanted to be admired by men. Xiao Ling held her head and curled up. Even her pupils began to dilate. What's wrong? Why hasn't she changed her face? Is it not done yet? I don't feel good. Can you hurry up? I feel like I'm going to die. Xiao Ling struggled and weakly asked the system in her mind. Moreover, her mind was emitting a kacha 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 sound. This feeling was as unbearable as fingernails scratching a blackboard. Xiao Ling held her head. Her body twitched and her eyes rolled back. She looked like she was having an epileptic seizure. Ning Shu frowned. If this continues, Xiao Ling might really die. They became cannon fodder in the battle between the two systems. However, at this time, all they could do was wait for the system battle to end. Ning Shu and Xiao Ling couldn't interfere. If they were lucky, they'd survive. If they were unlucky, they'd die. All pies that fall from the sky are poisonous. Ordinary people had to be careful when a great opportunity suddenly fell from the sky. Give me 500 merit points. He has absorbed a lot of souls. Now he is attacking me with these mixed souls that are filled with hatred. 2333's voice rang in Ning Shu's mind. Ning Shu was speechless. Fuck. According to this system probably found a lot of hosts and devoured their souls. Then you deduct 500. If this system couldn't be solved, 2333 would become a wild mission enforcer. She would stay in this place for the rest of her life, so she had to give as many merit points as she wanted. Besides, she was now a rich person. 2333 saw Ning Shu giving him 500 merit points so readily. If he had known, he would have asked for more. With merit points, he wouldn't be afraid of the attacks of these resentful souls. Ning Shu sat on the flower bed, waiting for the battle to end. He felt that this system should be one of the stronger ones 2333 had encountered. It could actually change people's faces and devour a lot of souls. This meant that it had been to a lot of worlds. If 2333 could take down this system, he should be able to hold on for a while. He should be able to level up. The weather was a little hot. Ning Shu took off his hat and fanned himself. He raised his wrist and looked at his watch. A lot of time had passed. Ning Shu released his spiritual power and looked at the situation inside. Xiao Ling was lying on the ground unconscious, but she should still be alive because her heart was still beating. Ning Shu felt that Xiao Ling wasn't someone who would die so easily. While waiting, Ning Shu saw a person wearing sunglasses and a hat. He looked around and entered the building where Xiao Ling was. Ning Shu was a little surprised. Why did Yu Wenluan come here? Xiao Ling couldn't see him now. Moreover, Yu Wenluan had found where Xiao Ling lived. He was really diligent. Ning Shu felt that Yu Wenluan was a pervert now. He was staring at Xiao Ling, so Ning Shu wanted to keep Xiao Ling alive. Now, Yu Wenluan didn't know where to vent his anger. They were hurting each other. If Xiao Ling died, Yu Wenluan wouldn't have a place to vent his anger and would vent it on her. There was only 1,000 days of being a thief, there was no such thing as guarding against a thief for 1,000 days. However, not long after, Yu Wenluan went downstairs and left. Yu Wenluan couldn't do anything to Xiao Ling now. Xiao Ling was lying on the ground unconscious. She didn't know what was happening outside, so it was impossible for her to open the door for him. After Yu Wenluan left, Ning Shu came out of the low bushes in the flower bed and fanned himself with his hat. It was too damn hot. How's the battle now? Is it okay? Ning Shu asked. No, let's not force it. Let's retreat first. We can't retreat now. If we retreat, we will definitely be devoured by the other party. I'm struggling to hold on. 2333 said, give me another 500 merit points. The souls absorbed by this system are really beyond my imagination. I feel like I'm in purgatory now. Ning Shu was speechless. Then deduct it. He didn't get any merit points from completing a mission. Instead, he lost 1,000 merit points. It was so powerful. No wonder it could change a person's appearance and temperament and increase the host's attributes. It was a natural method of changing one's face without any side effects. He kept changing his identity and face. It was like he was using cheats. He kept on restarting and could be reborn countless times. In a limited life, he could live an infinite life. He wondered if a man could become a woman and a woman could become a man. Would it be possible to perfectly change one's personality, /BK? Chapter 1792. If this system could change the identity of men and women, that would be really awesome. It probably couldn't change the genes of men and women. At most, it could change the face and figure. But this was also very awesome, okay? Role-playing was so fun that it felt like flying. This system should have lived for a long, long time. Who knew how many faces and people it had harmed? Ning Shu waited and waited. After a sauna, 2333 finally returned triumphantly. He said to Ning Shu, "I'm going to hibernate. The damage is a little big." Ning Shu, going to sleep again? Logically speaking, 2333 was also a soul. Why would he sleep for no reason? Could it be to absorb the energy of the wild system? Go to sleep. Ning Shu released his spirit to see if Xiao Ling was still alive. The current Xiao Ling had become the Xiao Ling of the past. She was no longer as ethereal as before, pure and flawless, nor was she as luxurious as a peony. This was the image of Xiao Ling of the previous life, gaudy and not outstanding. Xiao Ling's current appearance was actually not very likable. She had no temperament or outstanding features. Although her face could be considered beautiful, there was no feeling. Ning Shu didn't care what Xiao Ling had become. He just needed to make sure that Xiao Ling was still alive. Looking at the pounding heart in his chest, Ning Shu smiled slightly. As for what she would look like when she woke up, Ning Shu didn't care. After leaving the neighborhood, Ning Shu quickly went to the coffee shop and asked for a cold drink. It was really hot. When he went back, he quickly put on a mask. He relied on his face to make a living. He had to protect his face well. When Xiao Ling woke up, she looked at the ceiling in a daze. She seemed to have slept for a long time. It felt like a lifetime had passed. She seemed to have thought of something. She quickly got up and rushed to the bathroom. This look almost scared Xiao Ling's soul out of her body. She touched her face in horror. Didn't he say that she could change her face? Why did she become the same as before? Xiao Ling touched her face back and forth. She really couldn't believe that she had become the her of the previous life. She had become an 18th-rate actress who would never be famous in the previous life. She could only play small roles for the rest of her life. She couldn't bear to look back on the past. She didn't want to become like this. She had already said that she would change to another person. Why did she still have this face? Xiao Ling hated this face. She felt that it was all because of this face that she would be an unremarkable 18th-rate actress without any status in the entertainment industry. System, what's going on? How did you turn me back into what I was before? I don't want to be like before. I want to be a new person, Xiao Ling wailed hysterically. She threw the things on the sink all over the place. Bottles and jars fell to the ground. Some of the glass bottles even broke. However, the system in Xiao Ling's mind didn't reply. Xiao Ling kept calling out to the system, but the system didn't respond. Xiao Ling's face was pale and filled with fear. She thought of a terrifying thing. The system might have abandoned her and she would become the same person from her previous life. The system was what Xiao Ling relied on. It was all her hope. But now that the system was gone, all her hopes were dashed. She couldn't become a winner in life. She couldn't conquer men. She couldn't become a movie queen with millions of fans. She had been beaten back to her original state. Xiao Ling was terrified. She didn't know what to do. She was used to the system giving her missions, used to the system giving her ideas, used to the system doing whatever the system told her to do. Unknowingly, Xiao Ling had been cultivated into a slave by the system. Now that she was a slave without a master, she didn't know what to do. Then what was the point of her rebirth? The system didn't have any humanity and abandoned her. She worked so hard for the mission because the system gave her something wrong. Now, she was burdened with a huge debt and her reputation was ruined. Xiao Ling was at a loss now. She didn't know how to live. Her heart was empty. She didn't have a place to go. Xiao Ling locked herself in the house. She was disheveled and couldn't recover from the setback. After a period of time, Ning Shu secretly came to take a look. He discovered that Xiao Ling was moving freely. There were no signs of her being a fool or a lunatic. He couldn't help but praise her. Xiao Ling was really lucky. However, she was skinny and her face was yellow. She didn't look good at all. However, she should be satisfied. She didn't become a fool or a lunatic. Her brain didn't explode. However, Xiao Ling's situation wasn't very good. Her current appearance was different from her current appearance. She changed her face so quickly. Interesting. Xiao Ling didn't have the system anymore. Ning Shu didn't care about her at all. He was busy with his career every day. Some time ago, the TV series he filmed became very popular. There were several commercials waiting for her to film. Ning Shu didn't care about Xiao Ling, but some people were constantly paying attention to her. Ning Shu met Yu Wenlun again. He was wandering around downstairs. Deep hatred couldn't be compared to this. A starving camel was bigger than a horse. No matter how unbearable Yu Wenlun was, he was still someone with savings. He directly found Xiao Ling's landlord and rented the house at double the price. In other words, Xiao Ling was now in Yu Wenlun's territory. She was like a fish on a chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. Ning Shu just watched silently. Men changed their hearts very quickly. In his previous life, he protected Xiao Ling and thought about her in every way. In this life, he wanted to cut Xiao Ling into pieces. Everyone had a bottom line. The more Xiao Ling trampled on Wenluan's bottom line, the more Yu Wenlun hated her. They hurt each other. Ning Shu only paid attention to Xiao Ling occasionally. The rest of the time, he was busy with his work. But not long after, a big thing happened. Yu Wenlun died. The back of his head hit something sharp and he died. He was carried out of the neighborhood. Yu Wenlun's death caused a sensation. After all, he was a movie king. Especially when so many things happened recently. He hadn't faded out of sight yet. Now that he suddenly died, it immediately attracted attention. The entertainment newspapers and the internet said that Yu Wenlun was killed by Li Kellen. Yu Wenlun's body was carried out of Li Kellen's rented house. Now, Li Kellen was immediately taken into custody. The details of the matter still needed to be investigated. Most people thought that this was a vendetta. Some time ago, Yu Wenlun accused Li Kellen of being Xiao Ling. The two of them had a grudge. Because Xiao Ling released the rape video, Yu Wenlun's career was ruined. For almost a year, there was news about Yu Wenlun. Now, he was dead, and his death was quite eye-catching. When Ning Shu saw this news, all kinds of thoughts flashed through his mind. Most of them were inclined to believe that Xiao Ling killed Yu Wenlun. Ning Shu, who used to be a lawyer, keenly felt that Xiao Ling wanted to kill two birds with one stone. She killed the person who tortured her and avoided a huge debt in prison. /BK. Chapter 1793. If that was the case, then Xiao Ling was even more ruthless than she had imagined. Or she accidentally killed Yu Wenluan. No matter what, Xiao Ling had gotten rid of Yu Wenluan because she was in jail. Even if the court confiscated all her personal assets, she had nothing. How could the court confiscate it? Moreover, her family's situation wasn't very good. Now that Yu Wenluan was dead and the commission was found, there was nothing to worry about. To be honest, Ning Shu was a little afraid that Yu Wenluan would pester her and she would have to spend some effort. It was a nightmare to meet such a lunatic. If she could not make a move, she would not make a move. For public figures like the commission, once any scandal was exposed, it would be a disaster. As long as there were traces left behind, Ning Shu wasn't willing to take action. If it was an ordinary person, it would be fine. There wouldn't be so many people paying attention. The online world was connected to the real world. Everyone knew about it and it also had influence in the real world. Public opinion was a very scary thing. An ordinary person would not be able to withstand the pressure of being condemned verbally and in writing. Ning Shu paid attention to the progress of Yu Wenluan's death. After a few days of investigation, the police concluded that it was a homicide. It was Xiao Ling, or it could be said that Li Kellen had planned to kill Yu Wenluan. Xiao Ling, confessed to the crime. The motive for the murder was that Yu Wenluan had abused and tortured her, and even raped her. The onlookers, Ning Shu believed that Yu Wenluan would definitely do such a thing. He hated a woman to the bone, then abused her body and tortured her mind. Since you said that I raped you, then I really raped you. You said that I wanted to do something to you, then I really wanted to do something to you. You framed me, now I've done everything to you. Xiao Ling, was very proactive in her confession. She had the feeling that she would be lenient if she confessed and would be in jail for a long time. It was as if she wasn't afraid of going to jail at all. The online comments didn't matter to her. She might have to squat in jail for the rest of her life. If she used the rest of her life in exchange for tens of millions of debts, wouldn't she have profited? Although Xiao Ling, was fearless, her parents were the ones who forced her to think. They had raised such a daughter who plagiarized, did indescribable things with others, casually posted it online, had plastic surgery, changed her identity, changed her name, and now, she was in jail for murder. They could not lift their heads in front of their neighbors. In his previous life, he had killed his father and taken away his wife. That was why his daughter had fallen into such a pit in this life. The old couple went to the prison to see Xiao Ling. Xiao Ling's face was sallow and she was as thin as a stick. When he saw his parents, he didn't know how to face them. If it weren't for the accident, she would have been filial to her parents, given them a big house to live in, given them the best, and become a child that they could be proud of. But now, the system had abandoned her. Yu Wenluan took the key and opened her rented apartment. From then on, she began to live a life of darkness. Yu Wenluan hurt her and humiliated her. How could he not know his body? Sometimes, he would even tie her up and take a thin needle to stab her hidden shameful places, where it hurt. She couldn't take it anymore. She had to kill this man. The system was really lame. How could such a man be called a boy? It even asked her to try and woo him, but in the end, he turned out to be a pervert. Xiao Ling, and Yu Wenluan were both trampling on each other's bottom line and dignity. Then, it developed to the point where one could only live and the other could not live. All the darkness in her heart was drawn out. Yu Wenluan hated Xiao Ling because she slandered him and ruined his career. Xiao Ling hated Yu Wenluan because he tortured and humiliated her. She couldn't take it anymore. When he tortured her, his ferocious and terrifying expression was especially scary. Xiao Ling made up her mind to kill Yu Wenluan because Yu Wenluan said that she had some secret and wanted to send her to the research institute. Yu Wenluan said that he had been paying attention to Li Kellen after the plagiarism incident. He didn't see her go for plastic surgery, but in the end, she changed her appearance. Therefore, Yu Wenluan felt that there was something in Xiao Ling's body. It wasn't a supernatural event, but something beyond human imagination or unknown to humans. He had to dig it out. When he was free, he would strangle her and make her talk. What was the secret? Xiao Ling was almost at the gates of hell. If he wasn't strangling her, he would push her into the water. When she was about to suffocate, he would pull her out. Xiao Ling gritted her teeth and refused to say. Although it was already the most difficult time, if she was really sent to the research institute, her fate would be even more terrifying. She might not even be able to keep her life and become a test subject on the operating table. Why did you do such a thing? Facing her parents' accusations, Xiao Ling didn't know what to say. Of course, it was to live a better life. She wanted to become a popular star, the object of envy, and a woman admired by men. She wanted to be a winner in life, but it didn't happen in her 2 lifetimes. Her struggle seemed worthless and full of irony. Couldn't she succeed? Couldn't she become a winner in life? Why? Was it because she didn't have a good family and money? Xiao Ling felt that fate was unfair to her. She had been reborn once. Why did it still treat her like this? Why didn't it give her a chance to be reborn? I want to live a good life. I want to succeed, but I failed. That's all, Xiao Ling said to her parents. Her clever parents looked at her with their mouths agape. You did so many wrong things and it's just a failure. Xiao Ling was silent. The winner was king and the loser was in the wrong. It was because she failed. The history books were written by the victors. If she stood on the resplendent stage now, things would be different. It was time to visit the prison. Xiao Ling was taken away by the prison guard. Xiao Ling's thin body trembled slightly. Life in prison wasn't good. They were all locked up here, and they were all vicious criminals who liked to bully newcomers. Xiao Ling felt that she was already ruthless. But under these people's joint bullying, she couldn't fight back. She still lived a life of being ordered around and bullied. And she had to stay in prison for the rest of her life. Because she killed someone on purpose, she was sentenced to life imprisonment. Even if she had to stay in prison for the rest of her life, she had to kill Yu Wenluan. Life in prison was much better than being tortured by Yu Wenluan. At least she could endure it. But at night, she would hide in her bed and cry, complaining that fate was unfair. Some people had smooth sailing and lived comfortably. For example, Yu Wenluan's ex-girlfriend, Mu Shuyao. After leaving Yu Wenluan, this scumbag, she developed even better. /BK Chapter 1794. Xiao Ling looked at the TV in the prison cafeteria. It was playing Ning Shu's commercial. She was beautiful, elegant, and confident. Xiao Ling couldn't even remember what Mu Shuyao was like in the past. She only remembered that she was Yu Wenluan's girlfriend and didn't have much of a presence. The most she remembered was that she married Yu Wenluan in her previous life and became a winner in life because of him. At that time, she was envious of Mu Shuyao. Since her rebirth, things had been going smoothly. She stole Mu Shuyao's boyfriend and role. She was about to succeed, but the plagiarism incident suddenly broke her advantage. Now, Mu Shuyao's life should be her life. Standing under the spotlight, fans would crowd her wherever she went. She was a winner in life. Xiao Ling felt as if ants were gnawing at her heart. She had already tasted this feeling of jealousy. Some people could succeed, but she couldn't succeed no matter how hard she tried. The heavens were so cruel. Why? Xiao Ling looked at the TV reluctantly. The other female prisoners laughed at her, saying that Xiao Ling was still daydreaming and thought that she was a celebrity. Ning Shu wanted to meet Xiao Ling but she thought about it and decided not to. She was a public figure now. What was the point of visiting a prison? Besides, she couldn't do such a thing. She couldn't let people know that she was playing tricks behind her back. Since Xiao Ling wanted to hate, she should hate Yu Wenluan. Xiao Ling's cockroach-like spirit surprised Ning Shu. If she used it in the right way, it would be successful. Women could also be scheming, ambitious, and scheming. Endure and you can always be reborn. However, it was still the same saying. Don't trample on innocent people. Maybe the person who was trampled on will give up everything to change their fate. Ning Shu bought a house for herself. The company also allowed her to move out of the apartment. Now, Ning Shu was a celebrity who earned money for the company. Some requirements were not requirements at all. Without Yu Wenluan, Ning Shu ate and slept well every day. She worked happily every day. When she had nothing to do, she stayed at home to gossip, read books, cook food, manage fans, act, and shoot commercials. She didn't have the energy to do things like creating scandals. Ning Shu had reduced the number of advertisements he had to shoot. He had to cultivate his character and cultivate himself to become a good actor. He had to hone his acting skills. It was impossible to stay in a scandal forever. He had to be safe and steady, and he would not always be pushed to the edge of the storm. If he didn't overconsume himself, he might even become an artist when he was old. With enough money, it wasn't a bad idea to start pursuing spiritual pursuits. Of course, this was Ning Shu's plan. Now that the client had been found, it was up to the client to decide how to live. Quest complete. Do you wish to leave the quest world? 2333's voice rang in Ning Shu's mind. Aren't you asleep? Why did you wake up so quickly? Ning Shu asked, puzzled. Previously, he said that he was a corpse, but now he was exploding again. I'm awake. Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu reviewed his experience and quest in this world. He felt that there was nothing he had missed. Yu Wenluan and Xiao Ling didn't have a good ending, and their situation was better than before. As long as Mu Shuyao didn't cause trouble, this great situation could be maintained. Let's go back. Wait, I still have soup in the pot. Let me drink it first. Ning Shu thought of the soup he had simmered for several hours. He didn't want to leave just like that. Ning Shu went to the kitchen and scooped out a bowl of soup. He drank it in small mouthfuls. It tasted really good. After drinking the soup, he washed the dishes and checked if the gas was turned off. Then he said to 2333, we can go now. Ning Shu's head was dizzy. He returned to the system space and rubbed his forehead. He felt that his soul was in pain. He felt that 2333 was particularly rough when he pulled her back. He was so gentle when she first entered the quest world. 2333 was like this 2333. Be gentler next time. Don't be like this all the time. Ning Shu took a deep breath. The system space rippled with the smell of agarwood. When he smelled it, he felt that the pain in his soul was a little better. Ning Shu took out a jar of agarwood and put some agarwood in the incense burner. He lit it and closed the lid. Wisps of smoke rose from the burner. The smell was mesmerizing, and the discomfort in his soul was alleviated a lot. Ning Shu opened his status panel and looked at his harvest. Name, Ning Shu. Age, 27. Rank, Super Quest Enforcer. Points card, 137, 10 million points for 1 point card. Soul value, 5 health points, 4 wisdom, 7 luck, 7 charm, 2 spirit, 5 strength, 6 aptitude, 3 faith, 1115000 merit, 654000 soul strength, 30 authorization ticket, none law comprehended, water rule pure heart, none items, calm aura, calming pill, faith aura, amulet 4, upgraded amulet plus 2 honorary titles, goddess of war, selfless ancestor skills, 5th ring shooting technique, level close combat technique, minor achievement in peerless martial arts, level poison technique, beginner business management knowledge. Beginner code programming, beginner lawyer skill, sage ghost catching skill, beginner cooking skill, level embroidery skill aura, mother of the world, queen's blessing, sister model worker, Chen Shi's blessing, leader aura, grass blessing, lifelong best friend, Miao Miao Miao's blessing. Healer of the dying, Zhu Sun Yang's blessing, founding woman, Chen Ermiai's blessing, beauty of the law, Chen Ning's blessing, bane of the blood clan, Jasmine's blessing, communication between races, by San Yang's blessing, heart of the brave, Wang Ying's blessing. Completed the client's wish, destroy Yu Wenluan and Xiao Ling's reputation. Mission completion rate, 100%. Mission reward, 10 points card, 8 attribute points, 80% soul strength, 10280 faith, including previous world's accumulation. Spent 1000 merit points, 60,000 merit points to purchase the world's origin, 4000 merit points to purchase the Agarwood, and 300 merit points to enter the auction house. When Ning Shu saw the merit points and faith points he spent, he almost fell off the sofa. Damn, she had already squandered so much merit points and faith points. She felt that she had suddenly become rich and squandered as much as she could. Unknowingly, she had spent a lot of money. Damn it, Ning Shu let out an earth-shattering laugh. 233, however, the harvest of soul strength this time surprised Ning Shu. He actually gave her 80% of his soul strength. In other words, she monopolized 80% of the soul strength the client gave, 233 took 10%, and the person in front of her took 10%. This was the only thing worth being happy about. /BK Chapter 1795. What Ning Shu lacked now was the power of the soul. He needed to strengthen his soul. Otherwise, every time he teleported, it would hurt his soul and tear it apart, which was very uncomfortable. She could give less points, but it didn't matter. More power of the soul was good, which meant that the person who entrusted her this time was still very satisfied with her mission. It could slightly alleviate the pain in her heart. Ning Shu distributed the attribute points. Name, Ning Shu. Age, 27 level, Super Mission Taker Points card, 137 plus 10, 10 million points for 1 point card. Soul, 5 plus 1 life, 4 plus 1 wisdom, 7 plus 1 luck, 7 plus 1 charm, 2 plus 1 spirit, 5 plus 1 martial strength, 6 plus qualifications, 3 plus faith, 111, 5000 plus 10280-4000 merit, 654,000 to 60,000-1000-300 soul strength, 30 plus 5 authority ticket, none law comprehended, water rule pure heart, none items, calm aura, calming pill, faith aura, amulet 4, upgraded amulet plus 2 honorary titles, goddess of war, selfless ancestor skills, 5th ring shooting technique, level close combat technique, minor achievement in peerless martial arts. Level poison technique, beginner business management knowledge, beginner code programming, beginner lawyer skill, sage ghost catching skill, beginner cooking skill, level embroidery skill aura, mother of the world, queen's blessing, sister model worker, Chen Shi's blessing, leader aura, grass blessing, best friend of a lifetime, Miao Miao Miao's blessing. Life-saving hand, Zhu Sun Yang's blessing, founding woman, Chen Ermiai's blessing, beauty in law, Chen Ning's blessing, bane of the blood clan, Jasmine's blessing, transcending race communication, by San Yang's blessing, brave heart, Wang Ying's blessing. Ning Shu sat cross-legged on the sofa and began to absorb 80% of the power of the soul. Ning Shu was looking forward to it. Her soul should be strengthened a little. After absorbing for a while, Ning Shu opened his eyes and looked down at his soul. He touched it and felt that it was a lot thicker. Finally, it was stronger. Every time he transmigrated, He felt pain in his soul, and 2333 was a rough person who didn't know how to be gentle. He was in a good mood. 2333. Although I don't really want to say it, I have to tell you some unfortunate news. Ning Shu said carelessly, are you going to die? Other than that, Ning Shu did not think that any news could be unfortunate. It's not that I'm dying. It's that Xiao Ling died in a gunfight in prison and was chosen as a mission enforcer, 2333 said. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. It was just a raised eyebrow. He didn't even feel the slightest bit surprised. Oh, 2333 looked at Ning Shu strangely and asked, don't you have any thoughts? Aren't you afraid that he will come after you for revenge? Ning Shu said expressionlessly, then he has to have the ability to take revenge on me. Although she has the chance to become a mission enforcer, if she wants to take revenge on me, she has to see her own strength first. I'm not afraid. Xiao Ling is also a determined person. She's a decisive person, but the path of a mission enforcer is not easy. She has to have the ability to take revenge on me. Ning Shu said indifferently. She had the strength now and the confidence to face a rookie mission enforcer. If she didn't even have the confidence and was trembling in fear, then what was she doing? She didn't even know if she would die halfway. She would be afraid and tremble in fear. Don't be ridiculous. Even if Xiao Ling grew up, Ning Shu felt that she might have reached another level. She didn't even know where she went. Ning Shu still had this bit of confidence. She had the support of a city's tax behind her to buy the resources she needed. She built the world and controlled her own destiny. She had so many things to do. Why would she care about someone whose strength could only be regarded as an ant? Height determines vision. 2333, that seems to be the case. You used to care a lot. That was before. I was weak and couldn't help but be afraid. Now that I have a little strength, I know what I'm doing. Naturally, I'm not afraid, Ning Shu said faintly while lying on the sofa. Prison was really a good place. If you didn't save her when the system swallowed her soul, this wouldn't have happened now. Although ants don't need to be careful, it's still necessary to be vigilant. I know, but it's not that easy for her to reach the sky in one step. Strategically despising the opponent, tactically valuing the opponent. However, Xiao Ling was a lucky person. She was bound to the system after her rebirth. After changing her face, she became a mission enforcer. However, her luck would run out one day. Her enemies were not only this woman, but also others. When there were too many debts, she wouldn't worry about it. They all came to take revenge on her. Ning Shu wasn't afraid. She also wanted to abandon the auction house in Water City. The auction house must have a powerful background. Since Ning Shu wanted to do it, why would she be afraid of Xiao Ling? Ning Shu opened the chat system and saw that it was a message from Mei Ziqing. Mei Ziqing said that she was outside the city lord's mansion. Because Ning Shu had set up a barrier around the city lord's mansion, she couldn't enter. Ning Shu said, screw it, and closed the chat system. Ning Shu thought for a moment and said to 233, have you absorbed all the energy from the system? He said he was going to sleep. Why wasn't he sleeping now? I'm awake. I'm a little tired. I'll take a nap and rest for a while. How long do you think I'll sleep for? 233 said. I remember you once slept for a long time, didn't you? Ning Shu raised her eyebrows and asked. She really didn't understand 233. What was he thinking? Sometimes, she couldn't explain 233's behavior. In order to avoid disturbances, I've been sleeping. 233 said. Ning Shu's mouth twitched. She said with some displeasure, so you were just lying when you said you were sleeping. You can't say that. But in order to avoid disturbances, I've chosen to prohibit external disturbances. 233 explained. Ning Shu, you really know how to play. Let's go to Water City. Ning Shu felt dizzy as she stood on the bluestone of the City of Water. She then headed straight for the City Lord residence. There was a person standing at the entrance of the City Lord residence. When Mei Ziqing saw Ning Shu, he hurried over. Ning Shu pointed his finger and broke the barrier around the City Lord's mansion. Then, he walked in. Mei Ziqing followed Ning Shu to the study. She saw the red-haired Xiao Hua reading a book. Xiao Hua's red hair was scattered to the ground. He was seriously flipping through the book/BK. Chapter 1796. Ning Shu and Mei Ziqing stood outside the window, looking at Xiao Hua. Xiao Hua seemed to be immersed in his book and did not notice that someone was looking at him. Mei Ziqing suddenly sighed. Ning Shu looked at her. Why are you so sad? I just feel like I've let him down. He should have his own life. It's not good to lock him up here every day. Mei Ziqing walked towards the garden. I can't throw him away, and I can't bear to do that. I feel like I'm raising a child, but it's a heavy responsibility. I can't bear it. Mei Ziqing sighed. Although Xiao Hua was big, his mind was very simple. If he developed into a naughty child in the future, it would be difficult to deal with him. He was a human now, not an ordinary lifeless world origin. If he was a flame, Mei Ziqing would have sold him without any psychological burden. Ning Shu felt that Mei Ziqing's current state was like that of a single mother. She did not care about Xiao Hua, but was afraid that Xiao Hua would be hurt in the future. Then just raise him. You don't have to bear any burden. He doesn't need you to take care of him. When he wants to leave, he will naturally leave. Ning Shu could only say so. When the bird could spread its wings and fly, the bird would naturally leave immediately and fly to the vast world. But you and I both have to do missions. We have time to teach him, but we don't have time to accompany him. Mei Ziqing said helplessly. Ning Shu immediately said, this has nothing to do with me. He's not my child. This is your responsibility. You bought him, so you have to take responsibility for him. Mei Ziqing, I want to put him in a certain world. It's useless for him to stay in a mission enforcer's world. He can't find his place. Mei Ziqing looked at Ning Shu. What do you think? This feeling of a single mother was even stronger. Why don't you ask him what he thinks? Ning Shu asked. Why are you so conflicted? Why did you buy him back then? Mei Ziqing looked at Ning Shu from the corner of his eyes. You didn't see that scene at the time, so it's easy for you to say that. If you were there at the time, you would have bought it too. But now it's a little difficult. Ning Shu said directly, I didn't see it, so I don't care at all. Waha. His pitiful look makes my heart ache. Mei Ziqing sighed. If he had fallen into the hands of others, he would probably be dead. I'm under a lot of pressure now. I want to keep him as a pet, but he appeared in human form. I can't be at ease and treat him as a pet. Besides, even a pet needs company. I don't have the time to accompany him. Mei Ziqing looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu was also at a loss. It's no use looking at me. Mei Ziqing. Who cares? If you have time, you can accompany him. If you don't, you can't do anything about it. Instead of talking to me about this, you might as well call him over and have a chat. Ning Shu shouted into the house. Xiaohua, come out quickly. Your mother is here. Mei Ziqing's face trembled. Don't randomly assign seniority. When did I become his mother? With a creak, the door opened. Xiaohua came out of the house, his long hair trailing behind him. When he saw Mei Ziqing, his eyes lit up. Xiaohua had a smile on his face. This smile was a little dazzling. Mei Ziqing also smiled and waved at Xiaohua. Ning Shu looked at Xiaohua's hair trailing on the ground. It was covered in dust and fallen leaves. It was so dirty. Ziqing. Xiaohua called out to Mei Ziqing. The two words were really tactful, as if this name was swaying between his lips. It made one's heart flutter. How do you feel here? Mei Ziqing asked Xiaohua. Are you used to it? Xiaohua glanced at Ning Shu and said, I'm very good. This auntie even taught me how to read and read. Xiaohua, do you have anything you want to do or anywhere you want to go? I'll take you there. Mei Ziqing asked. Xiaohua thought very carefully and then said, I don't have anywhere I want to go. I want to read here now. Okay, then read, Mei Ziqing said with a smile. Xiaohua kept tugging at the corner of Mei Ziqing's clothes, but only a little. He looked so pitiful. It's my treat. Let's eat at the restaurant. Ning Shu said. Eating was the best way to strengthen relationships. Okay, you're rich now. Let's eat rich and beat up rich people. Mei Ziqing said with a smile. The three of them left the city lord residence and went to the restaurant. They found a seat in the hall and passed the menu to Xiaohua. Do you understand the words on the menu? If you do, order for yourself. You have to thank her. Mei Ziqing said to the young man. Thank you, auntie. Ning Shu thanked Xiaohua. Ning Shu's face twitched. Being called auntie felt a little complicated. I feel like we're raising a child now. Mei Ziqing said. I'm not raising a child. You're raising one. Ning Shu said directly. Xiaohua took the menu and ordered some dishes with very colorful pictures. It seemed like children liked colorful things. When the waiter served the dishes, he gave Ning Shu an extra dish. The waiter said it was from the boss. Ning Shu raised her head and looked at Shu Bai, who was upstairs, as she thanked her. Shu Bai only nodded slightly, appearing to be reserved. Let's eat. I still have something to do later. This time, he was here to find out the background of the auction house. Last time, he had to collect taxes and didn't have time to go to the auction house. This time, he had to find out. He also wanted to see if he could find the world's origin or some treasure. What's the matter? Maybe I can help. Mei Ziqing looked at Ning Shu and asked. Actually, it's not a big deal. I just want to find out the background of the auction house. He knew what he was doing. Auction house? I heard that they have a military background. I also heard it from other missions. As for whether it's true, I don't know. For a business like this, they would definitely find a backer. Maybe it's a smoke bomb they deliberately released. There's no such thing. Mei Ziqing said. Ning Shu frowned. Since they had a military background, this was a little difficult. So she couldn't touch the auction house for the time being. Ning Shu stabbed the food with a fork and ate slowly. She thought to herself that she should stay at the auction house for a while. She had to have enough capital to go against the auction house. She could directly expel the people at the auction house, but what about the follow-up? There was already a Hongyu eyeing her law imprint every day. She had to endure it for the time being. The entrance fee of Water City's auction house is higher than other cities. Other cities only charge 300, but they charge 500. Ning Shu frowned. The key was that they wanted to cheat her of her taxes. Chapter 1797. Mei Ziqing didn't care much about 300 or 500 merit points. Instead, she said, Water City has a lot of good things stored up, so the entrance fee will definitely be expensive. Other cities have good things too. It's just a matter of conscience. The people at the auction wouldn't have a conscience, because they didn't have one. Actually, if they charged an extra 200 merit points per person, there would be thousands or even tens of thousands of people entering the auction. Ning Shu was very jealous. If she paid the tax, she would be happy that these shops were doing well. But now that she wasn't paying the tax, Ning Shu was very upset. Because she deserved it, but she didn't get it. Xiaohuo was eating as he listened to Ning Shu and Mei Ziqing's conversation. He didn't understand. For the first time, Xiaohuo realized that he was different from these two. There was a difference, and it was a difference between heaven and earth. Would Ziqing abandon him? Xiaohuo was very worried, very worried. After eating, Ning Shu and Mei Ziqing wandered around. They either went to the trading area or walked to the entrance of the auction. Ning Shu looked at the majestic auction. Are we going in? Mei Ziqing asked. Not going in, Ning Shu said indifferently. Then let's go. Mei Ziqing pulled Ning Shu. Ning Shu looked at the entrance of the auction silently. When the gatekeeper saw Ning Shu, he immediately welcomed him. He cupped his hands and asked, City Lord, do you want to go in? Ning Shu smiled. I'm not going in. I'm just going to watch from the outside. I'll keep watching. Gatekeeper, then do you want to tell the manager that you don't need to pay the entrance fee to go in? Ning Shu asked. Ning Shu shook his head. No need to go through so much trouble. Don't mind me. Go and receive the other guests. The gatekeeper hesitated for a moment before leaving. Mei Ziqing glanced at Ning Shu. You're like a resentful wife. I didn't get what I deserved, so I'm a resentful wife. I don't want more. These people won't give me what I deserve. Ning Shu said faintly. Ning Shu found a place to sit down and stared at the entrance of the auction house. Mei Ziqing also sat beside Ning Shu. Seeing that both of them had sat down, Xiaohuo also sat down. Ning Shu propped up his chin and stared at him. The gatekeeper had no choice but to ask for instructions from the steward. The manager directly said that Ning Shu could do whatever he wanted. Only those with no ability and no confidence would do such a disgraceful thing. The charming woman beside the steward frowned and said, Why don't we invite the city lord in? It must be because the city lord is not as good as the current steward because of the tax issue last time. After all, we are still Water City. The man shook his head. She doesn't dare to do it. Mei Ziqing asked Ning Shu, what's the point of doing this? Ning Shu propped up his chin and smiled. Of course it's meaningful. I was locked out of the auction house and wasn't even allowed to enter, Ning Shu said. Mei Ziqing thought for a moment and said, Oh, so you're looking for a reason to act. Of course. How much merit did the auction house take from you? You're like a dog skin plaster. A lot, a lot. Just thinking about it makes my heart ache. Ning Shu clutched his chest, his heart throbbing with pain. Mei Ziqing, then do you want to go against it now? You've just become the city lord of Water City, so your foundation isn't too stable. Mei Ziqing took out a drink, bit on the straw, and gulped it down. After drinking a few mouthfuls, he gave it to Xiaohuo. What if the other party really has a military background? Ning Shu spread his hands. There's no way, but I have to do it. Even if it's punishment, I have to show my attitude. Otherwise, those people will learn from me and rebel in my territory. I can't stand it, so I set up an auction house. Ning Shu grimaced. Even if she couldn't uproot the auction house, she had to make it feel bad. Up to you. After all, I'm not the city lord, Mei Ziqing said very straightforwardly. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. There was no love for colleagues. As Ning Shu and Mei Ziqing spoke, the doors of the auction house closed. Clearly, the auction had begun. Ning Shu waited outside. When the auction ended and the other mission enforcers left, she would deal with the auction house. Ning Shu looked at Mei Ziqing and Xiaohuo from the corner of his eyes. They were drinking their drinks one mouthful at a time. So what if they took an extra cup? Why did they have to kiss and drink? Shameless and impatient, they were leading the children astray. Mei Ziqing, I think it's better to let Xiaohua shave his hair. It's ugly dragging on the ground. It's dirty and hard to wash. Isn't it good to leave a clean man's hair? Every time he saw Xiaohua's hair, Ning Shu felt very uncomfortable. It was as if his heart was being scratched. He couldn't wait to cut it off. Mei Ziqing was speechless. I think it's pretty good. It's like mopping the floor. What's so good about it? Big nephew, listen to auntie. If you shave your hair, you'll be many times more handsome than you are now. Fresh and handsome, full of manliness. Ning Shu was bored waiting at the auction house and casually found a topic to talk about. Xiaohua touched his hair and said to Mei Ziqing, I want to shave my hair. Mei Ziqing glanced at Ning Shu. Then cut it. Oh, there's a ball of fire here. A fire with consciousness and life. A handsome boy with neat black hair suddenly appeared and stretched out his hand to rub Xiaohua's head. Mei Ziqing immediately pulled Xiaohua behind her, but the boy was still tugging on Xiaohua's hair. Mei Ziqing thought angrily to herself, cut his hair. I must cut Xiaohua's hair. Ning Shu also stood up and looked at the handsome boy who looked like a university student. Pan Chen, why are you here? Ning Shu looked around and did not see the school doctor. Pan Chen was a stone that killed people without karma. During a mission, he was taken away by the school doctor. Now, he had appeared again, and this guy liked to devour people's souls. Walking in the mission enforcer world, seeing a mission enforcer in a spirit state was like seeing a chicken leg. This guy must have taken a fancy to Xiaohua. Pan Chen said, I don't mean any harm. I'm just here to say hello. I think this flame essence has just gained consciousness not long ago. Why don't I bring it to roam the various worlds? Mei Ziqing and Ning Shu's mouths twitched at the same time. Xiaohua was crushed by Pan Chen in terms of intelligence and ability. Roaming the various worlds? He probably just wanted to swallow Xiaohua. Where's your master? Ning Shu asked. The school doctor letting this soul-eating guy into the mission enforcer world was like letting a wolf into a sheep pen. Pan Chen's face trembled. You don't know how to appreciate kindness. I just want to play with my new friend. You're all women. Men should interact more with men. Chapter 1798. Are you guys trying to raise him into a sissy? Pan Chen played with Xiaohua's hair. Ning Shu was speechless. She said she should cut his hair. Mei Ziqing's expression was ugly. I'll raise him into whatever I want. Come to think of it, he and I are considered the same type of monster. We are the same kind, said Pan Chen. Ning Shu smiled. So he should follow me, and I'll teach him some things, Pan Chen said. One must be up to no good. Anyway, this guy didn't have any good intentions. Moreover, this guy had no sense of right or wrong and was extremely willful. If he really handed Xiaohua over to this guy, he would be swallowed in no time. Ning Shu sneered and flicked his finger, sending Pan Chen out of Water City. When he was sent out, he grabbed Xiaohua's hair tightly and dragged him away. Mei Ziqing grabbed Xiaohua tightly, and Xiaohua grimaced in pain. Ning Shu pointed his finger and formed a water knife, cutting off the hair. Pan Chen was pushed out of the city of water by Ning Shu and disappeared without a trace. Mei Ziqing let out a long sigh, looking very depressed. There will be more of such things in the future. Ning Shu wasn't as pessimistic as Mei Ziqing. Xiaohua is the source of a world. He's a flame essence and the essence of heaven and earth. Find him a cultivation secret manual and he'll be able to protect himself. Xiaohua was confused. He didn't know why that person wanted to snatch him. Then I'll go back and see if there are any secret manuals to cultivate. Ning Shu thought for a while. It seemed that his peerless martial arts could absorb the power of the fire sun. It was a more suitable secret manual for Xiaohua. However, there were many attribute secret manuals in the system store. They were all cultivation secret manuals for various attributes. While this happened, the auction had already ended. The gatekeeper opened the door and saw Ning Shu and the other two standing not far from the auction house. He stared at the door. The gatekeeper, it didn't feel good to be stared at like a wolf cub. Ning Shu smiled and watched silently. When most of the mission enforcers in the auction house had left. With a point of her finger, Ning Shu enveloped the entire auction house with a barrier. It made it impossible for outsiders to enter, and the people inside couldn't come out. Moreover, Ning Shu also connected this barrier to the Great Barrier of the entire water city. If someone wanted to break the barrier, then they would have to destroy the barrier of the entire city. This was equivalent to destroying the entire city. At the same time, Ning Shu strengthened the enchantment and the enchantment of the entire water city. Then, Ning Shu flicked his sleeves and left. Mei Ziqing raised his eyebrows. "You're going overboard. What's so great about it? I've only just become the embodiment of the law of water, so I'm still not too familiar with controlling the law. Before I master the law, I'll have to trouble them to wait for a while," Ning Shu said with a pained expression. "I keep feeling that my water city isn't up to standard." "Mei Ziqing, don't leave Xiaohua in the water city either. Maybe that stone will be found." Ning Shu said, "I'll leave first. By the way, if you have time, help me pay more attention to the auction house after your mission ends." "That's not a problem." "Goodbye, Auntie," Mei Ziqing said to Xiaohua. "Goodbye, Auntie." "Ning Shu, nephew, don't be so mean." Ning Shu's figure disappeared. Ning Shu returned to the system space and lay down on the sofa. Then, he said to 2333, "During this time, if anyone comes to find me, tell them that I'm not here and that I'm doing a mission. Especially if someone comes to find me regarding the auction house, tell them that I'm doing a mission. I'm not here now." 2333, "Oh, okay. You're so sinister." "Ning Shu, how am I sinister? It's true that I'm not familiar with the laws yet. Also, when people come looking for you, be polite and apologize more. Then tell them that we're really useless and ask them to wait. Wait until I'm familiar with the laws. I don't know when I'll be familiar with it, understand?" 2333, "Understood. Have fun in the enchantment. If you want to break the enchantment of the auction house, then you have to break the enchantment of the entire water city. Let's see who dares to do it." Ning Shu hammered his chest, feeling a little better. "You're in my territory, yet you're trying to take advantage of me. Don't be such a bully. I don't want your taxes now, so I'm going to lock you in a cage. I won't be able to do business." Ning Shu felt that she didn't want more than 10% of the tax. She was strictly following the rules. "But now that you want to cause trouble, I'll cause trouble too. Let's see who can win." Without the tax from the auction house, she still had the tax from the other shops. Let's spend it together. The auction house would definitely lose more than her. Ning Shu smiled, smelling the fragrance of the agarwood. 2333, "I think you've become bad," 2333 said. Ning Shu rolled her eyes. "I'm just not strong enough. If I'm strong enough, I'll directly move the auction house out of Water City. This time, I'm going to test it and lure the snake out of its hole. I want to see what kind of background the auction house has. After such a thing happened, they would definitely come looking for her." Ning Shu felt refreshed, but the people in the auction house were cursing in their hearts. What's going on? She actually sealed the auction house. It's even worse than putting a seal on the door. "Manager, I told you not to make things too tense back then," the charming woman said to the manager who was pacing back and forth. The man's face was unhappy. "What's the use of telling me back then? Now that she's sealed the auction house, she really doesn't know what she's doing." "Does she know what she's doing? Are you going to look for young master?" Young master should be out looking for opportunities. I definitely can't contact him. The charming woman frowned. Do you want me to talk to the city lord? After all, we're all women. Some things are easier to talk about. The man thought about it and nodded. You go talk to her first. The charming woman contacted 2333 through the system and asked about Ning Shu's situation. She said that if he was free, she should invite Ning Shu to Water City and treat Ning Shu to a meal. Someone's looking for you. Do you want to go back? 2333 asked Ning Shu. Ning Shu looked at his book and said without raising his head, don't bother. I've enthusiastically rejected them. Now that they're all small fries, there's no need to bother. Just say that I'm on a mission. If any random person could invite her, then wouldn't she be too cheap? Instead, the other party would look down on her. Would they really think that she was a puppy who would run over after throwing a bone? 2333, okay, 2333 rejected the other party. You've been rejecting them? I said, I'll lock them up for a while. It's only been a while. Don't bother. Ning Shu was extremely calm. Chapter 1799. If you have the ability, then call the person behind this. This is actually not a matter of money. If you don't give me face, why should I give you face? Interpersonal relationships are mutual. You're good, I'm good, everyone's good. She said that she's already on a mission and isn't here. That should be an excuse. The charming woman said to the manager. The manager frowned. That's a little too much. The charming woman had no choice. They were in Water City now. Bullying a newly appointed city lord, but the other party was petty. However, if it was anyone else, they would be angry. Manager, it seems that our auction house will be closed for a period of time. This barrier will be covered in a layer of dust. We can't get out. It's obvious that she's targeting us. She'll only set up the barrier when there are no guests in the auction house. It was obvious that she was using her position to take revenge. Isn't it just a barrier? It's not like she's the only one who can set it up. The manager's expression was not worried, but he did not panic either. It was as though he was not afraid of such a change. Why don't we look for young master? I'm not capable enough. He doesn't even care about me. The charming woman said with some worry. It was so tiring to have such a boss. In the end, it's all because of the tax. Why don't we just give the tax to that city lord? In the end, it's all because of money. Things that can be solved with money are small. Being locked up like this, we'll lose all our money. The charming woman felt that doing business should be more harmonious. Harmony made money. After all, they were the ones who would suffer losses. The other party wouldn't lose anything by doing this. It was their side that would suffer losses. The man waved his hand. It's not that simple. The auction house has been in Water City for so long, and this is the first time something like this has happened. This city lord is really a newborn calf that isn't afraid of the tiger. She didn't investigate anything before making a move. If she wants to seal it, then so be it. I'll make her open the barrier obediently. The man said faintly. Our auction house can still afford to lose such a small amount of money. When the time comes, we'll get her to compensate. The charming woman's head was about to explode. There was clearly room for negotiation, but she had to maintain her face. Meeting a pig boss made her feel uncomfortable. It was too sullen. She wanted to find a part-time job, but in the end, she didn't know how long she would be locked up. When the other shops in Water City saw this situation, they had some thoughts in their hearts, but they restrained themselves a little. Shu Bai leaned against the window with a round fan in her hand. She gently fanned herself as she looked in the direction of the auction house. The sky above the auction house was shrouded in ripples under the sunlight. The ripples sparkled like tiny diamonds. However, this barrier was extremely tough. Shu Bai fanned herself and couldn't hold it in anymore. In any case, it wasn't a bad idea to show off his strength. Otherwise, others would think that the city lord was a soft persimmon that could be easily bullied. It was good to move a little. Ning Shu finished reading a book and put it back on the shelf. He then said to 2333, "Let's go to the other cities and look for the world origin." Ning Shu was currently in a good mood. She could run around everywhere, but the people in the auction house could not. Just thinking about it made her happy. You won't be able to do business. Ning Shu wandered around several cities and even went to a few cities with supreme laws. The pressure in these cities was very heavy. When he entered, he felt very uncomfortable. After circling around for a while, he quickly left. After going through several cities, he still couldn't find the world origin. Was the world origin so rare? Or was it secretly hidden by others, and there were very few circulating on the market? Ning Shu wandered around and still couldn't find it, so he returned to the system space. Forget it, I'd better go do the quest. Ning Shu opened the system shop's exchange system and exchanged for some fasting pills and the like. 2333 said, "Someone sent you a message." From the auction house? Ning Shu asked faintly. No, it's a message from the other shops in the City of Water. 2333 said. Ning Shu said indifferently, "Don't worry about it. These people are probably trying to find out what I mean and what I want to do. In the future, if it's nothing important, they'll say that I'm doing a quest. I think it's time to see the client first. This black hole has nothing to do with it. I'm in the system space and I'm not swallowed, right?" Ning Shu looked at the black hole on the wall expressionlessly. 2333 hesitated for a moment. "Why don't you wait a little longer? You haven't seen the client for a long time anyway. It's not going to be so short." Ning Shu was speechless. These words were really unpleasant to hear. What do you mean by "I haven't seen the client for a long time anyway"? It felt full of sarcasm. "Okay, then I'll wait a little longer. Let's see how long I can wait. Go do the quest." Ning Shu said in advance. "Be a little gentler. Every time it's uncomfortable, it affects my mood to do the quest. Doing the quest in a good state could get twice the result with half the effort. I'm gentle every time. The reason why it's uncomfortable is because your soul is too weak. It has nothing to do with me." 2333 said directly. "Of course not." Ning Shu exchanged for the fasting pills and closed the shop. 2333 teleported Ning Shu to the world. Ning Shu felt a little better, but he felt that the teleportation took a little longer. It didn't matter if it was a little slower, the main thing was that it was more comfortable. Sure enough, 2333 used to be simple and crude. It was also because it was too straightforward. It always felt that it was because its soul was too weak. After a while, Ning Shu felt that he had fused into a body. When he fused into the body, he felt a huge repulsive force. Ning Shu also felt that this body had a very strong lingering spirit. Repelling it. Ning Shu fought with this lingering spirit and slowly fused into the body. Once he fused into the body, Ning Shu spat out a mouthful of blood. Ning Shu opened his eyes, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and looked around. This was an elegant and unique room. She was now sitting on the bed, smoke coming from the incense burner. Ning Shu rubbed his forehead, feeling that his body was not very comfortable. It felt like he couldn't control his body as he wished. It had been a long time since he had this feeling. Ning Shu felt that this body should have power. This world should have a complete power system. Ning Shu closed his eyes and began to accept the plot. This was a cultivation world. Learning and cultivating, seeking the truth and obtaining great power. There were many sects, countless techniques, and countless killings. The cultivation world was incomparably cruel. Cultivators fought with the heavens, stealing the heavens and earth to replenish themselves. They fought with people, stealing resources, killing people, and stealing treasures. Although they pursued the Tao, they were not like gods who had no desires. They were like ordinary people, greedy, jealous, and lustful. In short, it was a very cruel world. Chapter 1800. The person who entrusted her was called Jiang Xuetzi, an elder of Purple Sand Island. She was a nascent soul cultivator, but only in the early stage. However, it was not bad. She could be considered a spirit refinement cultivator. If she improved further, she would enter the spirit refinement realm. Purple Sand Island was on an island. There was something called purple sand in the seawater. It was a good material for refining weapons. When refining weapons, adding some purple sand could improve the weapon's performance. If possible, Jiang Xuetzi could achieve the immortal Tao. However, when the Purple Sand Island was recruiting disciples, they had recruited a very powerful female disciple. This female disciple was called Yi Yuxian. Most people cultivated immortality, but Yi Yuxian cultivated the divine Tao. If ordinary people fought with the heavenly Tao, then Yi Yuxian was fighting with the great Tao. Cultivation was divided into the immortal Tao, the divine Tao, the demon Tao, the devil Tao, the ghost Tao, the devil Tao, and other spiritual objects of heaven and earth. There were 3,000 great Taos. Yi Yuxian cultivated the divine Tao, which was more powerful than ordinary people. Although it was difficult to increase her level, she could challenge people of a higher level. Yi Yuxian did not care about golden core or nascent soul cultivators. Although the divine Tao that he cultivated looked like a weak chicken, his ability could not be underestimated. To be able to recruit such a genius to Purple Sand Island, it was Purple Sand Island's fortune. However, geniuses had their pride. Yi Yuxian was an amazing person who had endless treasures. Yi Yuxian was like a white swan mixed into a flock of chickens, a crane standing out from the flock. Moreover, Yi Yuxian was a person of few words. If there was a disagreement, she would beat people down. However, this did not stop Yi Yuxian from being outstanding. I like it when you dislike me but still have to build a new society with me. Others were ordinary players, but Yi Yuxian was a rich player. Yi Yuxian inherited an ancient divine Tao sect. All the sect's resources were Yi Yuxian's. When Yi Yuxian entered Purple Sand Island, she was taken in as the only disciple of Purple Sand Island's top expert, Qi Cheng. As for the person who entrusted her, he had a slight relationship with this expert. Cultivation was lonely. Sometimes, it was not bad to find someone with similar interests to cultivate with and pursue the great Tao. Jiang Xuetzi was interested in Qi Cheng. She wanted to become Tao companions with Qi Cheng. Yes, in every Xianxia story, there was a canon fodder martial ant, and it was a female martial ant. But this was a love story between master and disciple. No, Yi Yuxian was a very proud person. However, Yi Yuxian was a straightforward person. What kind of feeling was that? The world was big, and I was the biggest. I could break the heavens, and I wasn't afraid of anything. I lived a carefree life. Jiang Xuetzi liked to discuss cultivation experiences with Qi Cheng so that they could improve their cultivation. Then, Qi Cheng, this disciple, said, "You're a thief and she's a prostitute. You're so pretentious and pretentious. Who doesn't know what you're thinking?" Jiang Xuetzi was embarrassed to have her thoughts exposed so abruptly. Qi Cheng, this disciple, was originally unruly and had offended many people on Purple Sand Island. However, her ability was too awesome, and no one could do anything to her. She had always treated others as though they were nothing. Logically speaking, every time Yi Yuxian saw Jiang Xuezi, she should greet Yi Yuxian as a junior. However, Yi Yuxian never bowed. Instead, it was Jiang Xuezi who greeted her first. After all, she was the disciple of her sweetheart. The other party always looked down on people. Jiang Xuezi vaguely told Qi Qing to teach her disciple how to conduct herself. After all, it wasn't good to offend too many people. People couldn't exist independently. However, this master was also a straightforward person. After Jiang Xuezi left, he immediately called his disciple in. He said, "Disciple, you should be more humble and be more tactful. Although you're a little powerful, you shouldn't cause unnecessary trouble." Yi Yuxian wasn't stupid. Of course, she knew that Jiang Xuezi was the one who complained. She rushed to Jiang Xuezi's mountain and challenged her. "You're so weak, yet you want me to respect you. I don't bow to you because you're not worthy. Your ability is not worthy." Jiang Xuezi was so embarrassed that she wanted to explode. If she fought, people would say that an elder was bullying a junior. If she didn't fight, she would be chased to the mountain. If she didn't fight, how could she establish herself on Purple Sand Island in the future? After all, she was an elder. Seeing Jiang Xuezi dilly-dallying, Yi Yuxian was very impatient. She took out her divine weapon and started fighting. Jiang Xuezi had no choice but to fight. Then, Jiang Xuezi was beaten up in various ways. Moreover, the other party had many divine weapons. Jiang Xuezi was beaten to the ground and vomited blood. Yi Yuxian defeated a nascent soul cultivator with her foundation establishment cultivation level. Moreover, there was a golden core cultivator in between. Yi Yuxian looked at Jiang Xuezi condescendingly. "I didn't argue with you because you're weak. You even took advantage of me. The strong are respected. Now, you still have the nerve to ask me to call you Uncle Master and bow to you." She didn't know her place. Jiang Xuezi vomited blood and stood up. She saw that the surrounding people were looking at her with complicated expressions. In order not to destroy her Tao heart, Jiang Xuezi suppressed the negative emotions in her heart and said to Yi Yuxian, "You're powerful. I'm not as good as you. Therefore, don't complain to Master." Jiang Xuezi closed her eyes. "I won't." Yi Yuxian left this time. She didn't care about how Jiang Xuezi or the others felt. She was powerful enough to support her arrogance and recklessness. Then, Jiang Xuezi became the joke of the entire Purple Sand Island. She was defeated by a foundation establishment disciple. What a joke. More importantly, she wanted to dual cultivate with an expert. However, her disciple came to humiliate her. Qi Qing could only shake his head helplessly at his disciple. He told Yi Yuxian to be more stable. Many ants could kill an elephant. If she offended too many people, she might fall into someone's trap. People's hearts were sinister. Yi Yuxian didn't care at all. She used force to overcome skill. All schemes were useless in the face of force. Although Yi Yuxian was arrogant, she had the backing of an ancient divine Tao sect. She defeated everyone in an instant. If she was an ordinary person, this would be called arrogance. However, if she was powerful, she would automatically beautify it. This could be called true temperament. Jiang Xuezi set Yi Yuxian as her target. After cultivating for a while, she felt that she was stronger and challenged Yi Yuxian. This had become Jiang Xuezi's inner demon. Every time she challenged Yi Yuxian, her heart would shatter. She also had to endure Yi Yuxian's contempt and humiliation. However, she was helpless because she couldn't defeat Yi Yuxian. This caused her inner demon to become stronger and stronger. Then, she went crazy and died. Ning Shu was speechless. What was going on with this story? If one was weak, they wouldn't even be able to obtain basic dignity. What did people work hard for? It was to become stronger. It was to obtain certain things, such as dignity, strength, or respect. You're tuning into the Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.